Chapter 2062. Murong Yu's face darkened slightly. His eyes flickered and finally stopped on an old man's face. This old man's strength was the highest among the people present. He should be the leader of the Lin family. At this moment, he was staring at Murong Yu with hatred. He gritted his teeth and looked like he wanted to slap Murong Yu to death. As if he knew what Murong Yu was going to ask, the Lin family's patriarch gritted his teeth and said, "Our Lin family's first patriarch is a core disciple of the Sky Crane sect. He's very powerful. If you dare to touch our Lin family, our patriarch will never let you go." The Sky Crane sect is one of the top 10 sects in the Milky Way star zone. Patriarch Sky Crane is a celestial realm existence. Another big shot of the Lin family added. Murong Yu narrowed his eyes slightly. There were only 10 celestial realm patriarchs in the Milky Way star zone, and Patriarch Sky Crane was one of them. However, was he really afraid of Patriarch Sky Crane? Murong Yu sneered in his heart. He only wanted to destroy the Lin family. He would not offend Patriarch Sky Crane at all. The so-called first patriarch of the Lin family was just a core disciple of the Sky Crane sect. Moreover, this was what the Lin family said. Perhaps their first patriarch was just a servant disciple of the Sky Crane sect? Are you done? Murong Yu glanced at everyone indifferently. His killing intent was overflowing. The hearts of the Lin family's big shots sank. Even their first patriarch, the Sky Crane sect, could not suppress Murong Yu? This guy was simply too daring. "If you're done, you can be on your way," Murong Yu said indifferently. His voice was extremely cold and contained a terrifying killing intent. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. They all knew that as long as Murong Yu made a move, their Lin family would be annihilated. Therefore, the Lin family's leader suddenly shouted, "Wait, Murong Yu. We'll use a piece of information in exchange for your mercy. How about it?" Murong Yu was about to make a move, but after hearing the other party's words, he stopped and looked at the other party with interest. "The Holy Realm. I know you came from the Sacred World. Furthermore, I also know that the Sacred World has been taken away by the person who stole it," the Lin clan master said in a deep voice. This time, it was Murong Yu's turn to be shocked. He suddenly stretched out his hand and pulled the Lin clan's leader over. A terrifying killing intent crashed into the Lin clan's controller like a raging wave. The pressure of the Genesis tier suppressed the entire body of the Lin clan's clan master, and even his soul was about to explode. "Tell me, how do you know about this? Is the disappearance of the Saints' world related to you?" His voice was cold and filled with killing intent. As long as the leader of the Lin family dared to nod his head, Murong Yu would definitely kill him at the first moment. The leader of the Lin clan was terrified. He looked at Murong Yu in horror and shook his head frantically. The person in charge of the Lin family was the strongest person after the first old ancestor. However, in front of Murong Yu, he was like a fish on a chopping board, unable to resist at all. "You're from the Saints' world, we've already found out. As for the disappearance of the Saints' world, it's not just the Saints' world that disappeared. In our Tiger Claw galaxy, many of the more advanced planets in even more galaxies have been taken away." As the leader of the Lin clan spoke, he suddenly let out a shrill scream. It turned out that Murong Yu felt that he was speaking too slowly, so he directly read his soul. The leader of the Lin clan's words could not be trusted, but his memory could not be faked. After a while, Murong Yu had already obtained the information he wanted. This made him feel a little lucky. The leader of the Lin clan was right. Not long ago, they had secretly discovered that Murong Yu had come out of the Saints' world. However, after they found out, the Saints' world had also been taken away. This made the Lin clan depressed. Otherwise, the Saints' world would have been destroyed by the Lin clan long ago. As for the matter of the Saints' world being taken away, the leader of the Lin clan did not lie. In the solar system, a Saints' world had been taken away. However, in the Tiger Claw galaxy, many planets had been taken away. There were also many planets in other galaxies that had been taken away. Morong Yu concluded that these planets that had been taken away all had a characteristic. They were not origin planets, but each planet was a planet that had been developed to the extreme. All kinds of laws and cultivation paths were close to being complete. They were already complete planets. Regarding this, the leader of the Lin clan came to a conclusion. Or rather, this conclusion was what he heard from others. The reason why the other party wanted to take away these planets with complete laws was to break through to the celestial realm. After all, the celestial realm was not something that ordinary cultivators could break through. Other than having the corresponding inheritance, one also needed to have enough souls. For example, planets with complete laws like the Saint's World, once they were refined, although it would not be as powerful as a star core, if there were enough of them, that person might be able to obtain enough comprehension and break through to the celestial realm in one go. Refine. Morong Yu frowned slightly. If the other party really had such thoughts, he had to take back the Saint's World before the other party refined it. Otherwise, the entire Saint's World would be refined by then. However, who was the other party? The leader of the Lin clan did not know at all. He only knew that there was such a person. However, it gave Morong Yu a vague piece of information. The other party was very likely to be a peak-level creation realm elite from the Demon Sealing Galaxy. The Milky Way Galaxy. The Mad Demon Galaxy was a second-tier galaxy after the Heavenly Crane Galaxy and the other 10 strongest galaxies. It was very powerful, and creation realm elites could be found everywhere. Demon Sealing Galaxy? Morong Yu frowned slightly. This galaxy was not unfamiliar to him. The headquarters of the Skeleton Bandits was in the Demon Sealing Galaxy. Although not many people knew the exact location of the Skeleton Bandit. It's also time to make a trip to the Demon Sealing Galaxy. A cold light flashed past Morong Yu's eyes. At the same time, he slapped the leader of the Lin clan on the head. Pooh! The leader of the Lin clan did not change much on the outside. However, his soul had already been shattered. With his soul shattered, he was naturally deader than dead. All of you, follow your family leader. After slapping the leader of the Lin clan to death, Morong Yu started a massacre, killing all the big shots of the Lin clan in the main hall. After reading the memories of the leader of the Lin clan, Morong Yu had long discovered that these people of the Lin clan were not good men and women. Each of them had done all kinds of evil. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were extremely vicious and evil. Killing them could be considered as getting rid of evil for the people. With Morong Yu's style, other than killing these big shots of the Lin clan, there was no need for him to kill the rest of the Lin clan. Without a high-level elite holding down the fort, the Lin clan's destruction was something that would happen sooner or later. However, Morong Yu did not let go of the Lin clan's treasure trove. He directly emptied the Lin clan's treasure trove, leaving not a single alchemical pill for the Lin clan. These treasures were naturally all handed over to Shenzhen by Morong Yu. In any case, the Lin clan had a 9th-level Insight Realm ancestor and even a Genesis Realm ancestor. Their accumulation over countless years was extremely terrifying. They could completely nurture Shenzhen into a Genesis Realm force. Without further ado, Morong Yu did not continue to stay in the solar system. Instead, he rushed straight to the Demon Sealing Galaxy. He was going to track down the elite at the peak of the Genesis Realm who had plundered countless planets. After going to the Demon Sealing Galaxy, after a period of investigation, Morong Yu was somewhat depressed. The Demon Sealing Galaxy was countless times stronger than the Tiger Claw Galaxy. Just the number of 9th-stage Genesis Realm cultivators exceeded 100. Among them, there were even 10 who had reached the peak of the Genesis Realm and were preparing to break through to the Heaven tier. Among them, 3 people were worthy of Morong Yu's suspicion. The Demon Sealing Sect's leader, Mo Wu, the Stellar Luna Sect's leader, Xing Yu, and the Magic Light Tower's leader, Qian Niao. Why did he suspect these 3 people? These three people were all at the peak of the Genesis realm. It was said that they had long been thinking of ways to break through to the heaven tier. But they had been unable to break through. The most important thing was that these three people were not good people. They were the kind of people who would do anything to increase their strength. The Demon Sealing Sect, the Star Luna Sect, and the Magic Light Tower. These three forces had long been notorious in the Demon Sealing Galaxy. They were as famous as the Skeleton Bandits, or even as famous. However, the Skeleton Bandits were openly robbing, while the three sects were doing all kinds of evil things in the dark. However, although these three forces were notorious, they were all at the peak of the Demon Sealing Galaxy. However, each and every one of them was a top force in the Demon Sealing Galaxy. This was an indisputable fact. Morong-Yu was still at the creation realm now. How could he investigate them? Even if he confirmed that one of the three had plundered the holy world, he did not have the ability to snatch it back. Strength is still too weak. Morong-Yu could not help but feel somewhat helpless. As long as he did not stand at the peak of the chaos, Morong-Yu would always feel that his strength was not strong enough, or even not enough at all. I have to think of a way to break through to the Insight realm as soon as possible. The threshold for these three forces to recruit disciples is the Netherworld Insight realm. Morong-Yu was also quite helpless. With his current realm, he did not even have the qualifications to enter the three forces. Should I go back to the Red Thunder Galaxy first, raise my strength to the Netherworld Insight realm, and then come back to investigate? Morong-Yu pondered. At present, only the Red Thunder Tyrannical technique could help his strength break through quickly. In the Red Thunder Galaxy, the Red Death Lightning was endless. As long as there was enough time, it would be enough for Morong-Yu to break through. Hey, have you heard? A heaven-tier mystic realm in our Demon Sealing Galaxy will appear soon. Now, the 10 great sects are gathering the powerhouses of the entire Demon Sealing Galaxy to explore the heaven-tier mystic realm together. Heaven-tier mystic realm? Isn't that a heaven-tier powerhouse's mystic realm? Would there be treasures of the celestial realm? But, when did the 10 great sects become so kind? They actually want everyone to explore the mystic realm together? Conspiracy, this is definitely a conspiracy. Maybe they want to use us as cannon fodder to lead the way for them. In the past, besides the 10 great sects' own people, outsiders were not allowed to go near the mystic realm. When Morong-Yu was about to teleport back to the Red Thunder Galaxy to cultivate, he heard the people around him talking about the heaven-tier mystic realm. Chapter 2063. Morong-Yu's heart stirred, and he immediately understood. Heaven-human mystic realm was a heaven realm level mystic realm, and it was also the name of that mystic realm. Legend had it that the heaven-human mystic realm was an immemorial heaven realm powerhouse's cultivation abode. There was even that heaven realm powerhouse's inheritance and various other treasures inside. Most importantly, this heaven-human mystic realm had not been developed yet. Regarding this, Morong-Yu was naturally somewhat disdainful in his heart. If it really had not been developed, then who could guarantee that there were various treasures inside? Moreover, they said it so solemnly. The 10 great forces were probably really going to use the masses as cannon fodder. However, that kind of undeveloped mystic realm would indeed have good things. However, to be able to obtain those things, apart from having powerful strength, it was also luck. As long as one's luck was heaven-defying, even if one did not have powerful strength, it was possible to obtain good things. Morong-Yu believed that his luck had always been good. Therefore, even if he knew that the 10 great forces would treat them as cannon fodder, he still decided to go and watch the show. As long as Morong-Yu obtained a heaven realm level origin artifact, he would be able to break through to the Insight realm. As long as he reached the Insight realm, his battle prowess would skyrocket again, charging to the second or even third stage of the creation realm in one go. Therefore, Morong-Yu understood the information about this heaven-human mystic realm in detail. The news was released by the 10 great forces, and they welcomed anyone to explore the unknown mystic realm with them. And the 10 great forces even promised that they would definitely not interfere with the things obtained in the mystic realm, let alone snatch them. Regarding this, Morong-yu sneered in his heart. If he believed these words, then he would really be an idiot. A few days later, Morong-yu arrived at Luowang planet. When he arrived here, he fell silent. Very obviously, there were many people who had the same thoughts as him. Luowang planet, which was originally somewhat remote and did not have many cultivators, was now full of cultivators coming and going. In the city, and even in the wilderness, cultivators could be seen flitting by everywhere. And among these cultivators, the majority were Insight Realm powerhouses. Next would be the Creation Realm experts. As for Creation Realm cultivators, apart from the original cultivators of Luowang planet, there were only a few limited people like Morong-yu. Although every cultivator was quite greedy, it didn't mean that everyone didn't know their own limit. Creation Realm cultivators really had no status here. Therefore, apart from a few Creation Realm cultivators with inflated self-confidence, there were no extra Creation Realm cultivators. Of course, Morong-yu was an exception. Although he was Creation Realm, his battle prowess was Creation Realm. Therefore, when Morong-yu appeared, strange gazes were constantly directed at him. Regarding this, Morong-yu did not pay attention to them. How these people looked was it realm had nothing do it realm many cultivators planet realm, you realm cultivators red, and Morong-yu's realm cultivators cultivator realm cultivators realm sect. As for rogue cultivators like Morong-yu, they also found people to form groups of their own. Only Morong-yu did not form a team. It was not that no one had approached him, but he had rejected all of them. Of course, the only ones who could find him were those creation stage cultivators who were too arrogant. Regarding this, Morong-yu was naturally not interested and rejected them directly. However, his actions caused the creation stage powerhouses to curse out loud. It was so much so that a few of them even had killing intent towards Morong-yu. 10 days later, under the lead of the 10 great forces, everyone flew out of Luowang planet and headed towards the heaven-human mystic realm. When they arrived, Morong-yu realized that the heaven-human mystic realm was not the kind of mystic realm he had imagined. The heaven-human mystic realm was actually a super-large origin planet. At this moment, Morong-yu and the rest were standing outside the huge origin planet. Compared to the origin star, Morong-yu and the others were so insignificant that they could be ignored. The outside of the origin planet was shrouded by a thick layer of white fog. His divine sense extended over and was immediately repelled by an invisible force. This origin planet is the heaven-human mystic realm. It is shrouded in clouds all day long. This layer of clouds is a huge array and restriction. It has extremely terrifying destructive power. Those who are not afraid of death can go in. Just as everyone was about to rush forward, a cold voice rang out from the crowd. In the end, most of the people suppressed their restless hearts and stopped their footstep. However, there were still some people who did not believe in heresy. After the cold voice sounded, they rushed in. Poof, 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 before they even got close to the heaven-human mystic realm, everyone saw blood splatters exploding in the void. It was obvious that those who rushed in were killed by the array and restriction of the heaven-human mystic realm. Among them, there were even many creation realm existences. Seeing this scene, the people behind stopped. All of them looked at the heaven-human mystic realm in fear, and did not dare to move forward. The 10 forces will work together to open a crack in the heaven-human mystic realm that will allow us to enter. When the time comes, everyone can enter through the crack. Of course, the people from the 10 forces will enter too. As if afraid that the 10 forces would cheat them, the person who spoke added another sentence. The 10 forces can only open a crack when they work together? What if you don't let us out when we come out? Before the person from the top 10 forces could finish his words, a questioning voice came from the crowd. If you don't believe me, you can choose not to enter. A slightly angry voice sounded. It was obviously the person from the 10 forces who spoke earlier. Everyone was silent. No one spoke again. After all, the 10 forces did not ask them to enter, right? 10 figures flew out from the crowd and rushed straight into the heaven-human mystic realm. They were the strongest people from the 10 forces. After the 10 people reached a certain distance from the heaven-human mystic realm, they started to attack. Murong Yu's gaze looked out, and finally stopped on 3 people. Demon Sealing Sect Master Mo Wu. Star Moon Sect Master Xing Yu. Magic Light Towers Tower Master Qian Niao. These 3 forces were one of the 10 forces of the Demon Sealing Galaxy. When Murong Yu's gaze landed on Mo Wu and the others, the 3 of them reacted immediately. Whoosh! Almost at the same time, the 3 of them turned to look at Murong Yu. Murong Yu was shocked and immediately retracted his gaze. He did not want the 3 of them to discover that he was already targeting them. Otherwise, with his current strength, he would be killed in an instant. The gazes of 3 peak creation realm cultivators. Although there was no killing intent in their gazes, how could ordinary people withstand the gazes of existences of this level? Moreover, these 3 people were not good people, so their gazes were naturally ferocious. Thus, when the gazes of the 3 people came into contact with Murong Yu's group, many people were immediately suppressed to the point of coughing up blood. Even those creation realm cultivators felt their blood boil from the gazes, and they could not help but retreat. Only then did they remove the pressure contained in the gazes of the 3 people. Those insight realm cultivators were in a miserable state. All of them coughed up blood, and no one was an exception. Murong Yu was somewhat depressed, because he was the only creation realm cultivator in his vicinity. Even insight realm cultivators were coughing up blood, so what was he going to do? Was he going to explode and die? Pooh! Murong Yu suddenly coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Then, he staggered and directly fell down. He had actually fainted. Mo Wu and the other 2 withdrew their gazes with suspicious looks on their faces. With their strength, they could not even discover who was spying on him. Then, the other party was at least an existence on the same level as them. Perhaps it was some loose cultivator. The 3 of them thought this and then ignored this side. My cultivation level is too low, it's simply a tragedy. After a while, Murong Yu finally woke up from his coma. However, there was still a hint of fear on his face. Of course, his coughing up blood, fainting, and fear were all fake. Although the gazes of the 3 people were terrifying, they could not injure Murong Yu. He just did not want to attract their attention. Regarding Murong Yu's unsightly performance, no one around him laughed at him, because they were not any better off than Murong Yu. Moreover, Murong Yu's cultivation level was even lower than theirs. After this incident, Murong Yu did not pay attention to the 3 people. With the efforts of the 10 peak creation realm cultivators, a crack was finally opened in the heavenly human mystery realm. Then, everyone rushed in one after another. Murong Yu also blended into the crowd and rushed in. Originally, he could have directly entered, but that would be too conspicuous. It was better to go with the flow. Pooh, pooh, pooh. However, as soon as Murong Yu entered the heavenly human mystery realm, he saw many cultivators who had entered before him explode into a bloody mist, exploding in the void. An extremely strong aura of death enveloped Murong Yu's heart. Whoosh! Without any hesitation, Murong Yu rushed into the Hichu Luoshu. At the same time, the Hichu Luoshu directly shrunk to a particle that even divine consciousness could not see. Boom! But even so, an extremely strong force still fiercely slammed into the Hichu Luoshu. Pooh! Murong Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. This was because he had been injured by the overflow. It should be known that after the Hichu Luoshu shrunk to the limit, the attack it could withstand was not even 100 millionth of the original attack. Moreover, Murong Yu's battle prowess had already reached the first stage of the creation realm. But even so, it instantly caused Murong Yu to be severely injured, so one could imagine how terrifying that attack was. If he had taken all of it, not to mention that Murong Yu only had the battle prowess of the first stage of the creation realm, even if he had the battle prowess of the third or fourth stage of the creation realm, he could have been killed in one hit. Chapter 2064. They had indeed been tricked. In the Hichu Luoshu, Murong Yu looked coldly at the cultivators who were constantly being killed by Miao Qing. Although a crack had been torn in the array formations and restrictions of the Tian Yuan mystic realm, the people outside could not see what was going on inside. Only after they had rushed into the crack did they realize that the people who had rushed in before them had been crushed by an unknown force. At that time they wanted to retreat, but it was too late. That inexplicable power attacked from all directions. The people who had rushed in did not have enough time to escape. Moreover, even if they had time, they could not escape. This was because the people outside had already rushed in like a flood. The crack was only so big, so how could there be more space? As a result, a large number of experts were constantly being killed, and the people behind continued to rush in without knowing. During this process, Murong Yu had already controlled the Hichu Luoshu to descend quickly. Even though the Hichu Luoshu had transformed into a divine consciousness that could not be seen, it was constantly enduring terrifying attacks. He did not know if it was because too many people had been killed, or because the attacks below were not that strong. In the process of descending, Murong Yu realized that the attacks were getting weaker and weaker. Shua. The sense of danger that had been floating in Murong Yu's heart suddenly disappeared. Murong Yu also heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, there were no more attacks. However, Murong Yu did not come out of the Hichu Luoshu. Instead, he continued to stay inside. This Tian Yuan mystic realm was really too savage, and it gave Murong Yu a sense of danger. As for the stormy waves of attacks just now, Murong Yu could feel that it was just the beginning. There were even more terrifying dangers waiting for him. Finally, after a day, the attacks above stopped. In a day, hundreds of millions of experts had died here. Murong Yu estimated that at least 1/10 of the people had died here. It was just the beginning, and 1/10 of the cultivators had died, including some powerful Genesis realm experts. If this continued, would all these people be killed? After the attacks stopped, the remaining people finally came down. Although there was no attack now, they still saw the tragic scene. All of them were so scared that their faces turned green, and they rejoiced in their hearts. Therefore, after they entered the Tian Yuan Mystery Land, they quickly left. However, he was much more careful now. After these people all left, the people from the 10 major forces slowly flew in. None of them seemed to be in a hurry. Murong Yu couldn't help but wonder if these people knew something. It was certain that he would treat everyone as cannon fodder. However, were they not worried that those people would obtain the treasures? Thinking about it, Murong Yu felt that the 10 major forces did not have to worry about this at all. Why? If it wasn't for the top 10 forces, who would be able to open the layers of formations and restrictions in the Tian Yuan Mystery Land and leave. The top 10 forces said that they would not interfere with them, much less snatch them. However, that was definitely just talk. Just the Demon Sealing Sect, Star Luna Sect, and Magic Light Tower would definitely make a move to snatch it. Since the treasures would be his sooner or later, why should they be in a hurry? If they got it first, they would not have to waste time and effort. After the top 10 forces entered, they all spread out and slowly advanced in different directions. Murong Yu finally followed behind the Demon Sealing Sect. Hichu Luoshu's smile was undetectable even by spiritual sense. Moreover, Murong Yu did not follow too closely, but stayed far away, following the aura of the Demon Sealing Sect people. Therefore, the Demon Sealing Sect did not discover anything at all. Along the way, Morong-yu discovered that there were many natural treasures along the way. However, the demon sealing sect people did not bother to collect treasures below the netherworld realm. Although Morong-yu didn't need it, there were plenty of cultivators in Glory sect who weren't in the profound underworld realm. Therefore, all the natural treasures in his line of sight were all collected by him, not leaving a single one behind. Along the way, Morong-yu did not encounter any danger. This was because all the dangers were cleared by the demon sealing sect people. If even they could not clear the danger, Morong-yu had even less hope. Boom! All of a sudden, Morong-yu heard an earth-shattering explosion followed by a blood-curdling scream. Even Morong-yu, who was very far away from the demon sealing sect, saw a cloud of blood explode in front of him. The demon sealing sect people had been ambushed, and many of them had died. Morong-yu immediately came to this conclusion. However, what kind of existence could actually ambush and kill the demon sealing sect disciples? This was the demon sealing sect's sect master, Mo Wu, who was at the peak of the Genesis realm. Apart from Mo Wu, the demon sealing sect also had many high-level Genesis realm experts. Morong-yu's curiosity was piqued and he directly rushed over. When he approached, the demon sealing sect in front of him had already calmed down. Apart from a gloomy expression, there was no other expression on their faces. Although the demon sealing sect people were not good people, they still had some feelings for each other. Moreover, so many of them had been ambushed, but they did not even see who had ambushed them. This made them furious. Even Mo Wu's expression was gloomy. It was obvious that he, a peak Genesis realm expert, had also failed. This made Morong-yu even more curious. Thus, he followed behind, wanting to see who the ambusher was. He had a feeling that the ambusher would continue to appear. Sure enough, less than half a day later, a phantom rushed over from afar at an extremely terrifying speed. Then, before anyone could react, it had already rushed into the crowd. At this moment, Morong-yu's soul trembled violently. A special pressure shot over from afar. Morong-yu's expression changed slightly. That was the pressure unique to soul cultivators. They were both soul cultivators, so Morong-yu could easily sense the other party's presence. However, while Morong-yu could sense it, others should not be able to. This was a special feeling that only soul cultivators had. At the same time that his soul trembled, Morong-yu felt his soul stagnate slightly. This was equivalent to the effect of time freezing. However, right now, it was only his soul that had been frozen. Only his soul had been frozen, and everything else was not affected at all. Thus, while his soul had been frozen, the mysterious ambusher had already rushed into the demon sealing sex group and started a massacre. Boom! A large, furry hand suddenly stretched out. Morong-yu clearly saw the demon sealing sex disciples, whose souls were still frozen, being slapped into a bloody mist before they could even react. At this moment, Morong-yu finally saw who the ambusher was. It was like a small ball of meat, about the size of 2 adult heads, and covered in fur all over, a vicious beast. Shio! After those people were slapped into pieces, this unknown vicious beast opened its mouth and inhaled fiercely. Morong-yu clearly saw that the souls of the demon sealing sex disciples that had been slapped to death by this unknown vicious beast were directly swallowed. Everything happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, coupled with the fact that everyone's souls were affected, and this vicious beast did not stop at all, retreating after one attack. Whoosh! By the time the demon sealing sex disciples reacted, the vicious beast had already retreated. His speed was so fast that it far surpassed that of ordinary creation realm elite. Die! The demon sealing sex sect master, Mo Wu, was the fastest to react. His strength had already reached the peak of the Genesis realm, and he had a stomach full of anger. Thus, he immediately attacked. Boom! He unleashed his peak Genesis realm strength to the extreme, and a terrifying aura rippled out, shattering the void and shaking the heavens. The vicious beast was very fast, and it fled very far. However, its strength was still far inferior to the peak of the Genesis realm. Roar! The vicious beast was slapped to the ground by Mo Wu's palm, and it let out an angry roar that did not match its figure. 1. The moment he heard the roar, Murong Yu's soul immediately felt a little dizzy. Even Murong Yu's powerful soul was like this, so how could others be like this? The demon sealing sect's disciples had already recovered, but after this roar they were stunned again. Even Mo Wu's soul was stunned for a few moments. These few moments were enough for the vicious beast to escape. Whoosh! Whoosh! After that, the vicious beast had already fled without a trace. Mo Wu's face was as ugly as if he had swallowed a pile of shit. He wanted to chase after it, but he was afraid that the demon sealing sect would be wiped out. In the end, he did not chase after it. However, Murong Yu chased after it. This vicious beast was actually a soul cultivator, and its soul attack methods were even richer than Murong Yu's. If he could obtain this vicious beast's skills, his strength would skyrocket again. Originally, with Murong Yu's speed, he could not catch up to the vicious beast, but the vicious beast left behind a strong aura, which gave Murong Yu enough traces to track it. Murong Yu chased all the way, and it did not take long for him to catch up to the vicious beast, following behind it from a distance. It seems that this vicious beast should be injured. However, this will be more useful for my next move. Looking at the vicious beast that was gradually slowing down, Murong Yu followed closely. In the end, after the vicious beast entered a long and narrow canyon, it did not come out. This should be the vicious beast's lair. Murong Yu continued to control Hichu Luoshu, controlling Hichu Luoshu to walk in. However, he did not extend his divine will. Once he alarmed the vicious beast, Murong Yu would not be able to catch up to it with his speed. Soon, Murong Yu arrived in front of a narrow cave. The vicious beast's aura just disappeared at the entrance of the cave. Murong Yu did not hesitate, controlling Hichu Luoshu to walk in. However, just as he entered the cave, Murong Yu saw a pair of round eyes appear in his line of sight, less than a zhang away from him. Who else could it be but the vicious beast? In fact, Murong Yu could even see the ferocious beast opening its mouth wide, preparing to roar. Chapter 2065. Roar. Murong Yu didn't even have time to react before the vicious beast let out a furious roar. Suddenly, an inexplicable force erupted from the beast's mouth and rushed towards Hichu Luoshu and Murong Yu like a torrent. Buzz. At this moment, Murong Yu felt his soul suddenly stagnate, as if it was frozen. After the beast roared, it didn't stop attacking and continued to roar. At the same time, it stretched out its furry claws and slapped towards Murong Yu. With his soul frozen, even Murong Yu's instincts had stopped working. With a bang, he too and Luo Shu were slapped away by the beast's claw. Puff! The powerful overflow of damage directly bombarded Murong Yu's body, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. However, the overflow of damage also allowed Murong Yu's soul to return to normal. With a thought, he controlled Hichu Luoshu to retreat. During this process, he attacked the beast with a Holy Soul Slash. At the same time, he also prepared a soul defense. The beast's small eyes flashed with a terrifying light as it stared at Murong Yu and roared again and again. At the same time, it blasted out waves of soul power and fought with Murong Yu. The void trembled and even shattered. Although there wasn't a dazzling burst of power, the battle between soul power was even more dangerous and terrifying. As long as there was a mistake, the soul would be shattered by the other party and die immediately. Murong Yu's only use of soul power was the Holy Soul Slash, Soul Storm and other methods. It was similar to the principle of physical attack. The beast's soul attack was different. It could attack directly like Murong Yu. It could also freeze Murong Yu's soul like time freeze. During the battle, Murong Yu found that his soul was about the same strength as the beast. However, the beast's soul power was much stronger than his. The ability to freeze souls had almost frozen Morong Yu's soul several times. Once his soul was frozen, he would immediately fall into a disadvantageous position or even be killed. However, Morong Yu didn't leave Hichu Luoshu from the beginning to the end. Therefore, even if the beast froze Morong Yu's soul, it wouldn't be easy for it to kill him. Swoosh! Suddenly, a black streak of light shot out from the He-Tu and the Book of Luo. It turned into a black streak of light and tore through space, heading straight for the beast. The ferocious beast was shocked. Just as it was about to retreat to avoid the black stream of light, the black stream of light had already hit its body. Puff! A flower of blood suddenly bloomed in the void. It was incomparably mournful. At the same time, the beast cried out in pain. At the same time, the black stream of light also revealed its figure. It was the weapon fragment. With Morong Yu's current battle prowess, the weapon fragment's battle prowess had already been raised to the peak of the first stage of the Genesis realm. Mo Wu was in existence at the peak of the Genesis realm. Even he couldn't kill the beast. Even when he attacked, the beast still managed to escape. One could imagine how fast the beast was. However, it was precisely because of Mo Wu's attack that this beast was injured. Moreover, during the battle, Morong Yu didn't reveal his strength. Therefore, how did this beast know that Morong Yu was also so powerful? It only instinctively thought that Morong Yu was only a soul cultivator. Therefore, it was immediately injured. Roar! The beast roared and slapped at Morong Yu with its claws. At the same time, its figure flashed, and it flew diagonally. It escaped without a fight. This beast wasn't stupid. It knew that if it continued to tangle with Morong Yu, it might be killed by Morong Yu, this treacherous human cultivator. Morong Yu chased after it without any hesitation. As for the cave from before, Morong Yu didn't plan to go in and investigate. Obviously, this cave wasn't the beast's nest. It should be a place where the beast used to ambush Morong Yu. How did the beast know that Morong Yu was chasing after it? Obviously, Morong Yu could sense its existence, and it could also sense Morong Yu's existence. In addition, it didn't have a very low intelligence, so it was very normal for it to ambush Morong Yu. This time, the beast didn't stop. Its speed was extremely fast. It shook off Morong Yu in an instant. However, it couldn't erase the aura it left behind in the void. Therefore, although Morong Yu couldn't see it very soon, he followed the tracks and chased after it. His speed was very fast, and because he was chasing after the beast, Morong Yu didn't encounter any danger along the way. After all, the beast had lived here for a long time, so it knew where there was danger and where there was no danger. When running for its life, it definitely wouldn't choose a dangerous place to go. Although there was a chance that Morong Yu would be killed, there was also a high chance that it would die as well. In a flash, a day passed just like that. Along the way, Morong Yu discovered a lot of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Some medicinal herbs and the like would make even high-level creation realm powerhouses jealous. Morong Yu didn't let go of any of them. He collected everything he saw. Damn bastard, you came to my territory again. You're really courting death. Morong Yu had just collected an aged medicinal herb into the Hichu Luoshu when he was shaken by a loud sound like a thunderclap, and his figure also staggered. And his eardrums were directly shattered, and blood gurgled out of his ear holes. Rumble, before the loud sound like a thunderclap fell, it was followed by a series of violent explosions. Waves of terrifying aura rippled over, and wherever it passed, it swept through everything. Boom! Boom! Morong Yu looked forward, and then saw a huge figure attacking wildly in the sky. No, it should be two figures. In addition to that huge figure, there was also a small thing. It was the beast Morong Yu was chasing. Giant panda? Looking at the opponent of the beast, Morong Yu had a strange expression. Because that beast was the giant panda. Morong Yu had seen many giant pandas when he was in the mortal world. However, at that time, the giant panda was quite cute and gentle. It was just an ordinary animal, not a monster or a beast. After that, Murong Yu entered the cultivation world, the immortal world, the divine world, the holy world, and even the endless starry sky. He never saw a giant panda again. Moreover, he had never heard of a giant panda being a monster or a beast. But the giant panda in front of him looked so cute and adorable. But the aura it exuded was quite terrifying. The vicious beast that Murong Yu had been chasing was also quite powerful. However, it was currently being suppressed by the giant panda, unable to retaliate at all, and the sole attack of the beast seemed to have no effect on the giant panda. This was really amazing. Murong Yu slowly approached, watching the giant panda suppressing the beast. He still felt that it was a little strange. Damn little thing, if the giant panda doesn't show its power, do you think I'm a sick cat? Bastard, I'll tear you apart today. The giant panda cursed and swore as it fought. In the end, it cursed and swore, and Murong Yu could not take it anymore. That beast was probably furious, but it had been injured twice, and it was no match for the giant panda. So, although it was angry, there was nothing it could do. In fact, it couldn't even escape. Murong Yu slowly walked over. He was quite interested in the beast's soul attack. Therefore, he would not let that beast kill the giant panda. Even if he was killed, he would snatch the beast's corpse from the giant panda's hands. Bang! The giant panda showed its power and sent the beast flying with a slap. The beast spat out blood and its aura weakened, and the beast was flying in the opposite direction of Murong Yu. Murong Yu was pleasantly surprised and immediately attacked. An extremely violent soul attack immediately slashed towards the giant panda. Roar! The beast was already heavily injured, and its strength had dropped. And with Murong Yu's sneak attack, it was instantly heavily injured. In the end, it did not even have time to react before it absorbed the Hichu Luoshu that Murong Yu had summoned. And once the beast entered the Hichu Luoshu, it was directly suppressed by Murong Yu. In the Hichu Luoshu, Murong Yu was the ruler. A mere Genesis realm vicious beast could still be suppressed. That human boy, come out and thank me for giving you this gift. After suppressing the beast, Murong Yu wanted to teleport away. However, the giant panda looked over and said in a booming voice. The giant panda was very powerful, and Murong Yu was no match for it at all. Therefore, he did not want anything unpleasant to happen between him and the giant panda. Therefore, he did not stay and wanted to leave. If you run away like this, that little thing's father will definitely chase after you. With your strength, TSK, the giant panda said again. At the same time, its body gradually shrank. It quickly shrank to the size of a normal panda. Don't worry, this handsome cat won't harm you. The giant panda slowly walked towards Murong Yu, as if it was a chatterbox. Pooh! Murong Yu immediately spat out. This giant panda was really too narcissistic, wasn't it? And a handsome cat? The giant panda was just cute. How was it related to being handsome? However, Murong Yu did not feel any killing intent from the giant panda. Therefore, he walked out of the Hichu Luoshu. When it saw Murong Yu, the giant panda's face immediately showed a hint of disappointment. However, it quickly became excited. Just as I thought, you boy are not as handsome as this handsome cat. However, you should be glad. If you weren't not as handsome as me, perhaps you wouldn't have been able to live. Murong Yu's face darkened. If he was more handsome than it would kill him to silence him. Chapter 2066. Looking at the narcissistic panda, Murong Yu was quite speechless. Although he wasn't handsome, the aesthetics of humans and pandas were different, okay? What do you want? Murong Yu wanted to beat the panda up, but when he thought of its powerful strength, he held back. What do I want? The panda suddenly scratched its head in distress, its eyes filled with confusion. It didn't seem to know what it wanted to do. Looking at the panda who was deep in thought, Murong Yu was about to retreat without batting an eyelid. The panda was a little crazy, and Murong Yu didn't want to have anything to do with it. That's right, I want to leave this place with you. Murong Yu, who was slowly retreating, was suddenly shaken by the panda's thunderous voice, and staggered. If it was someone with a slightly weaker mental fortitude, they would probably be scared to death by the other party. You can't leave by yourself? Murong-yu rolled his eyes. Was there something wrong with the panda? It couldn't leave with its strength? The panda immediately shook its head like a rattledrum. This is the cave of a heaven realm expert, and anyone who is here can't leave. However, since you have a way to enter, you naturally have a way to leave. So, As it spoke, the panda had already approached. Murong-yu looked at it speechlessly. Don't look at me, I'm only in the creation realm. I was able to enter because of the 10 great forces. You can go find them. I feel that you're not simple, and you're the first human cultivator I've met. So I'm going to follow you. No, kid, are you jealous that I'm more handsome than you, so you don't want to stay with me? No. If you're like this, the more I want to stay with you, because this makes me look more handsome, the panda said narcissistically. As it spoke, it reached out and stroked the fur on its head. Murong-yu really wanted to beat it up. He had seen narcissistic people before, but he had never seen such narcissistic people. Kid, let's go. With this handsome cat by your side, I guarantee that you'll be able to do whatever you want. The giant panda patted Murong-yu's shoulder and was about to leave. At this moment, Murong-yu suddenly equated the giant panda with the big black dog. Although they were from 2 completely different races, both of them were so despicable. What is that beast? On the way, Murong-yu asked the giant panda. He knew nothing about the seemingly cute but incomparably terrifying ferocious beast that he had captured. As a local, the giant panda should know something. That annoying little thing is called the soul-stabilizing beast. It's pretty disgusting. The giant panda had a look of disgust on its face. Don't tell me you've been defeated by the soul-stabilizing beast? Looking at the panda, Murong-yu smiled. The giant panda immediately sneered. Do you think I would be taken advantage of by that little thing? At this point, the giant panda was obviously a little guilty. Looking at Murong-yu, the giant panda kept staring at it. Finally, it changed its words. That's right, I've been taken advantage of by them. However, this handsome cat is not that easy to bully. Murong-yu only smiled faintly, but his heart tightened. The giant panda was so strong, but it had been defeated by the soul-stabilizing beast. One could imagine how strong the soul-stabilizing beast was. How many soul-stabilizing beasts are there in this secret realm? This was the question that Murong-yu was most concerned about. Now that he had captured one of the soul-stabilizing beasts, if more powerful ones were to find out, he felt that it would be better to leave this place as soon as possible. Not many, just 3 or 4 of them. Don't worry, with this handsome cat here, one of them will die. The giant panda patted its chest loudly. However, why did Murong-yu feel that it was not reliable? I still have to look for treasures in this secret realm, so I won't be leaving for a while. You should go home and wait for me. When I leave, I'll bring you with me. Murong-yu still wanted to get rid of this narcissistic and despicable giant panda. You're here to look for the treasures of that celestial realm elite, right? I know where his cave is, I'll bring you there now. After saying that, the giant panda changed direction and flew in the other direction. You're letting me off so easily? Murong-yu still did not believe it. However, he did not feel any malicious intent from the giant panda. Therefore, he followed it. The giant panda was very arrogant. At least when it passed by the territories of the beasts that were weaker than it relied on its powerful strength to crush them. It was such a mess. Murong-yu, on the other hand, was happy to collect all kinds of heaven and earth treasures from behind. Although there were many beasts here, many of the heaven and earth treasures were useless to the beast. Therefore, it was Murong-yu who benefited. However, when they encountered powerful beasts, the giant panda was stunned and quietly slipped over with Murong-yu. Murong-yu did not have any objections. He was here to look for treasures, not to fight with beasts. On the way, Murong Yu's main soul was already studying the soul-fixing beast in the Hichu Luoshu. However, even if it was suppressed by Murong Yu, that soul-fixing beast was still fierce and did not cooperate at all. Murong Yu did not get any useful information from the soul-fixing beast at all. In the end, he still decided to directly devour the soul-fixing beast's soul. Although the soul-fixing beast was powerful, it had already been heavily injured and suppressed time and time again, so how could it resist? Therefore, its soul was easily devoured by Murong Yu. In order to prevent the soul-fixing beast's soul from causing trouble, Murong Yu erased its consciousness before devouring it. Then, he directly read its memory. More than a dozen soul-fixing beasts, and the strongest had even reached the peak stage of the Genesis tier. When he saw the soul-fixing beast's memory, Murong Yu was given a fright. This soul-fixing beast that he had devoured was only at the middle stage of the Genesis tier. But it dared to fight the demonic crow at the peak stage of the Genesis tier head-on. Then, if it was a soul-fixing beast at the peak stage of the Genesis tier, its strength would be able to easily crush the demonic crow, right? If it was against him, Murong Yu felt a strong sense of danger. However, this heaven-human mystery realm was so big, so the other party might not be able to find him. Perhaps at that time, Murong Yu would have already left the heaven-human mystery realm. Thus, Murong Yu was only slightly shocked, and his attention was focused on the soul-fixing beast's other memories. The useless memories were directly skimmed over, and finally, Murong Yu found the soul-fixing beast's memory that could set souls. This was not some cultivation technique, but was directly passed down. But all soul-fixing beasts, once they were born with the innate ability to set souls. Murong Yu did not feel disappointed, because he had already guessed this before. Thus, he carefully studied the soul-fixing beast's ability. The more souls it devoured, the stronger this ability would be. Moreover, the soul-fixing beast's battle prowess in other aspects would also be stronger. It almost did not need to cultivate, just continuously devouring souls would be enough. Although it was an inheritance, and not a cultivation technique, there were still traces to be found. The soul-fixing ability was similar to the principle of time freezing. But soul-fixing beasts fixed souls and not time. When soul-fixing beasts fixed souls, their souls would emit a special frequency. This frequency would cause a soul to resonate, and then be instantly fixed. Hichu Luoshu directly sped up, and Murong Yu's main soul began to cultivate. Meanwhile, outside, he had already followed the giant panda deep into the heaven-human mystery realm. According to the giant panda, they were already close to the cave abode of the heaven-human mystery realm elite. 1. Murong Yu's soul suddenly trembled violently. Waves of soul power constantly rushed out of his soul space like stormy waves, rushing out at a specific frequency, instantly sweeping towards a few beasts not far in front of him. Those beasts bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they pounced towards Murong Yu. Murong Yu's soul attack had no effect on them at all. Failed again. Murong Yu shook his head. During this period, he had been constantly studying the soul-fixing beast's soul, but in the end, he was still lacking a little and did not succeed. 1. Suddenly, the giant panda walking in front of Murong Yu had its hair all standing on end. Then, with a swoosh, it shot up into the sky and quickly disappeared from Murong Yu's sight. Looking in the direction where the giant panda disappeared, Murong Yu's face was filled with shock. "Kid, was it you who attacked this handsome cat just now?" After a while, the giant panda jumped out again and looked at Murong Yu with an incredulous gaze. Murong Yu's face revealed a strange smile. "Didn't you say you weren't afraid of soul-fixing beasts? Why did you run so fast?" The giant panda said shamelessly, "You said I was afraid of soul-fixing beasts? What a joke. Just now, this handsome cat was in a hurry and needed to go to the toilet." Murong Yu only smiled faintly and ignored the despicable giant panda. Just now, he had attacked the giant panda in an attempt to freeze its soul. However, He had just succeeded in cultivating it and its power was still weak. It was impossible for him to freeze the giant panda's soul. However, this was a good start. As long as Morong-Yu cultivated diligently, he would definitely have the ability of soul-fixing beasts, or even surpassing them and surpassing them. The giant panda looked at Morong-Yu with a bewildered gaze. Morong-Yu's aptitude and talent were really beyond its expectations. He had even learned the soul-fixing beast's ability. What a monster! Kid, stop fooling around. Your soul-fixing ability is too weak. It can't threaten me at all. The giant panda suddenly said. However, after saying that, it felt that something was wrong. That was because it saw Morong-Yu's face suddenly turn ugly. Run! The soul-stabilizing beast is chasing after us. Morong-Yu shouted in a low voice as he took the lead to fly away. Swoosh! The giant panda was like a bird startled by the twang of a bow. It flew past Morong-Yu and disappeared without a trace. Its speed was many times faster than Morong-Yu's. Chapter 2067. The giant panda left Morong-Yu behind and fled without a trace. Whoosh! However, the giant panda soon turned back. It grabbed Morong-Yu with one paw and flew forward with Morong-Yu. Oh no, the soul-stabilizing beasts are coming. Kid, you've dragged me down. The giant panda displayed an extremely frightening speed. As it flew through the sky, it complained to Morong-Yu. Morong-Yu rolled his eyes and said, Even if I didn't suppress the soul-stabilizing beast, you would have killed it. Even if you didn't kill it, it would have taken revenge. Therefore, you are the one who implicated me, not the other way around. The giant panda was silent, then nodded. That sounds true. As it spoke, the giant panda did not slow down. Instead, it sped up. However, Morong-Yu's soul was shaking even faster. When the soul-stabilizing beast chased after them, Morong-Yu felt its presence. Therefore, he wanted to escape immediately. Among the remaining soul-stabilizing beasts, even the weakest one was far stronger than him. However, Morong-Yu did not expect the giant panda's senses to be so sharp. When Morong-Yu discovered the soul-stabilizing beast, he also discovered the giant panda. It really was a giant panda that was shrouded in mystery. Bad luck, cat. Did you find out where the soul-stabilizing beast is? How strong is it? Morong-Yu asked. Bang! The giant panda jumped up and looked at Morong-Yu angrily, its eyes spitting fire. Kid, don't think I don't know you're playing word games with me. I'm a handsome cat, not a handsome cat. Do you understand? If you're jealous of me again, don't blame me for being rude. Morong-Yu was shocked. It was not because of the giant panda's anger, but because it did not continue flying forward. If the soul-stabilizing beast caught up with them, it would be a tragedy for them. The giant panda was also aware of this, so it flew away once again. However, it was already too late. An incomparably strong sense of danger filled Morong-Yu's heart. At this moment, Morong-Yu felt a terrifying force shooting towards him from behind. Soul steadying. Morong-Yu's expression changed slightly, and his soul began to tremble violently. Similarly, he used the soul-steadying technique to attack. But the two forces collided fiercely in the void, directly tearing a huge crack in the void. The spatial turbulence immediately rolled out like a prehistoric ferocious beast, swallowing in all directions. Morong-Yu's expression changed slightly. This was because he realized that his attack had been directly torn apart. On the other hand, the other party's attack only lost a portion of its power. The remaining power was still sweeping over at an incomparably fast speed. This meant that the other party's attack was much stronger than his. Moreover, he still didn't know how much strength the other party had used. Morong-Yu could only attack again, crazily attacking. On the other side, a soul-stabilized beast that looked exactly like the one Morong-Yu had captured had a look of shock on its face. Only the soul-stabilizing beasts could use the soul-stabilizing technique. Moreover, because it was passed down, others couldn't learn it at all. However, How could a human cultivator like Morong Yu know their soul battle technique? This was really amazing. However, this soul battle technique could only be used by the soul-stabilizing beast. It couldn't be passed down to outsiders. This human cultivator must die. The soul-stabilizing beast's killing intent soared, and it attacked violently again. Morong Yu immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. The fixed soul beast's strength was simply too strong. His soul was directly injured. In fact, Morong Yu's soul was directly frozen several times. If it wasn't for the giant panda, Morong Yu would probably have been killed by now. However, the continuous battles were very beneficial to Morong Yu. His soul-anchoring ability quickly improved. Its power was already several times stronger than before. Although he was still no match for the soul-stabilizing beast, he was no longer in such a sorry state. However, it was still a one-sided situation. If they couldn't escape quickly, or if more soul-stabilizing beasts rushed up, they wouldn't be able to escape even if they wanted to. Moreover, the stronger Morong Yu was, the fiercer the soul-stabilizing beast's killing intent. Its attacks were even more terrifying. Giant Panda, can you escape? The giant panda was also affected, and its speed wasn't as fast as before. However, fortunately, the soul-stabilizing beast's attacks were all blocked by Morong Yu, and the giant panda's soul wasn't frozen. Otherwise, they would definitely be in for a tragedy. Don't be noisy, I'm trying, the giant panda said unhappily. It seemed that relying on the giant panda alone wasn't going to work. Enter Hichu Luoshu? If he wasn't afraid of rushing into Hichu Luoshu, Morong Yu wanted to try entering Hichu Luoshu. Then, he could only break through to the next realm now. Once he broke through to the next realm, his strength would skyrocket. Thus, Morong Yu fixed his gaze on the soul-stabilizing beast soul that he had captured earlier. Previously, he only devoured its memories, but not its soul. And the soul-stabilizing beast was originally at the mid-level creation realm, and its soul was extremely powerful. After devouring it, perhaps it could let Morong Yu's soul break through a small realm. Refine. Morong Yu didn't hesitate at all and directly started refining the soul-stabilizing beast's soul. Waves of extremely pure soul power continuously surged into Morong Yu's soul sphere, and his soul sphere expanded rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. As his soul continued to improve, his attacks also became stronger and stronger, and blocking the soul-stabilizing beast's attacks gradually became less tiring. However, the gap between the two sides was still huge. Buzz. Under Morong Yu's all-out refinement, the soul-stabilizing beast's soul was refined in less than an hour, and Morong Yu's soul finally broke through to the 9th level of the creation realm. As the soul-stabilizing beast's soul contained an extremely pure and huge amount of soul power, Morong Yu's soul directly rushed to the peak of the 9th level of the creation realm. At this moment, Morong Yu's cultivation, physical body, and soul were balanced again. They all reached the peak of the creation realm. Bang! An inaudible muffled sound came from Morong Yu's body. His battle strength soared in a straight line, and he rushed to the 2nd level of the creation realm, and finally reached the 3rd level of the creation realm. He was at the peak of the creation realm, but he had the terrifying battle strength of the 3rd level of the creation realm. At this moment, the giant panda's heart suddenly palpitated. And the source of the palpitations was actually Morong Yu. Looking down at Morong Yu, the giant panda didn't notice any changes in Morong Yu. However, Morong Yu was becoming more and more unfathomable. This didn't come from Morong Yu's strength or battle strength, but from his potential. Morong Yu's potential shocked the giant panda. How much potential did he have to be like this? The giant panda couldn't help but be shocked. In fact, the giant panda's heart was even filled with jealousy. Fortunately, this handsome cat is many times more handsome than him. There are still some things that he can't compare to. The giant panda thought narcissistically in its heart, and its heart finally felt balanced. Boom! After his strength increased, Morong Yu attacked again. After an earth-shattering bang, the soul-stabilizing beast's attack was directly shattered by Morong Yu. After his strength broke through, his strength was just that strong. However, he also knew that this was not the full strength of the soul-stabilizing beast. The gap between him and the other party was still there. "Kid, not bad. Continue to block it, I'll be able to shake it off soon." The giant panda laughed loudly. Because Morong Yu's strength increased, the pressure on the giant panda was greatly reduced, and its speed increased again. Gradually, it increased the distance between the two of them. The pressure on Morong Yu also decreased by a lot. However, if he wanted to kill the other party, his soul, cultivation, and physical body must all break through to the netherworld realm. Otherwise, he would still be suppressed. "Haha, we're here. I want to see if that bastard dares to chase after us." The giant panda laughed loudly. After a while of running, they finally reached the cave where the celestial realm cultivator cultivated. Before Morong Yu could check, the scenery in front of him changed, and in the next moment, he appeared in a tunnel. "Kid, you have to follow closely. This is a maze and there are countless tunnels. If you get lost here, you'll be waiting for death here." The giant panda put down Morong Yu, and at the same time, walked forward. Morong Yu observed his surroundings. Sure enough, this place was like a beehive, densely packed with countless passageways. When he used his divine telekinesis, it was immediately bounced back. If he couldn't use his divine telekinesis, how much could he see with his naked eyes? Morong Yu couldn't help but feel his scalp go numb. In this situation, even if the top 10 forces entered here, they wouldn't be able to get to the deepest part, right? And the deepest part must be the real cave where the celestial realm cultivator cultivated. "Handsome cat, you know the way?" Seeing that the giant panda was about to step into one of the tunnels without hesitation, Morong Yu couldn't help but pull this idiot back. "Nonsense, I've been here before." The giant panda suddenly realized that it had spilled the beans, and then shut up. It just broke free from Morong Yu and strode forward. Since this idiot had been here before, what was there to worry about? Even if they couldn't find the real cave, they could at least walk back the way they came. Therefore, Morong Yu followed. Whoosh! Not long after Morong Yu entered the tunnel, the soul-fixing beast that was chasing them appeared where they were originally. However, Morong Yu didn't sense it, and the soul-fixing beast didn't seem to sense Morong Yu either. In the end, it just randomly chose a tunnel and went in. It was the tunnel next to the one Morong Yu entered. After the soul-fixing beast disappeared, the void shook, and a group of dozens of people appeared. If Morong Yu was here, he would definitely recognize these people. It was Mo Wu and the others. Chapter 2068. After Mo Wu and the others entered the maze, they hurriedly chose one of the passages and disappeared at the entrance. After the demon sealing gate, the experts from the other 9 forces and a few other forces entered the maze one after another. However, the passages in the maze were densely packed. There were hundreds of millions of them. Therefore, even if a large number of people entered the maze, it would not be lively. On the other side, Morong Yu followed the giant panda and walked quickly in the passage. The passage was not very big. It was like a cave. Moreover, there was nothing in the passage. It was completely empty. If they did not have Genesis Realm battle prowess, they probably would not even be able to see the passage clearly. The passage seemed to have no end. It was winding, and they did not know where it led to. The most important thing was that this passage was almost exactly the same. It was very easy to not know how far they had walked, because there was no reference. However, Morong Yu was very observant and noticed that something was amiss. "Bad cat, didn't you say that you knew the way? Why are we going round and round?" Morong Yu grabbed the giant panda and said with a gloomy face. "This idiot said that it knew the way, but it got lost in the passage. That was because there were many forks in the tunnel. Walking back and forth, the giant panda ended up walking in circles. The giant panda smiled embarrassedly. Isn't it because I haven't been here for too long? Give me some time and I'll definitely find the right path. Murong-yu rolled his eyes. He did not believe this idiot at all. However, he did not know which path was the right one. He could only listen to the giant panda now. However, the giant panda was really too unreliable. It led Murong-yu around for half a day and still could not find the right path. In fact, it could not even find the right way in. It had even forgotten the way back. Murong-yu gritted his teeth. He wanted to slap this unreliable cat to death. However, fortunately, he knew the way back. Forget it, don't waste your energy. Just watch me. Murong-yu resisted the urge to kick the panda away and stepped forward, ready to lead the way. While the giant panda was leading the way, Murong-yu was also carefully observing the forks in the road. Although those forked roads were exactly the same, with Murong-yu's heaven-defying ability, he could still easily recognize the forked road. That was because those forks were filled with the scent left behind by him and the giant panda. However, there were still many forks in the road. It was still extremely difficult to find the right passage to the real cave residence of the celestial being realm expert. 1. Murong-yu had just stepped into a fork in the road when he heard a buzzing sound coming from the front. Even the void trembled violently because of these sounds. The giant panda's expression changed drastically. He grabbed Murong-yu and was about to rush out. What are you afraid of? What's in the tunnel? Murong-yu steadied himself and looked at the giant panda in confusion. The giant panda's expression was ugly. Murong-yu even saw a flash of fear in its eyes. This fellow had probably been harmed in this tunnel or by something that was making buzzing sounds. Those are bees. They're just bees. What's there to be afraid of? You're a Genesis realm expert. Murong-yu looked at the giant panda with disdain. The giant panda immediately jumped up like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. What did you say? I'm afraid of those bees? What a joke. I'm just afraid of trouble. Those bees aren't very strong, but there are many of them. They like to swarm. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go in and take a look. Murong-yu chuckled. He turned and walked quickly into the tunnel. Murong-yu actually had a motive for entering here. Honey. It was common knowledge that the honey of the mortal world was rich in nutrients and had other effects. And the honey produced by bees, which could make even the giant panda change its expression, was even more heaven-defying. How could Murong-yu give up? The flowers collected by bees that were comparable to Genesis realm experts were definitely all valuable flowers. The honey they produced was a combination of all kinds of treasures. It was definitely good stuff. That honey is good stuff. It can even directly increase one's cultivation level. If we can get rid of them, hee. The giant panda suddenly laughed evilly. You've been here before? Murong-yu asked. Of course. I've even stolen their honey before. However, I failed once. The giant panda accidentally spilled the beans. Then, it immediately shut up. In the end, they swarmed you and almost killed you, right? Murong-yu laughed. He finally understood why the giant panda's expression changed when it heard the buzzing sound. So that was the reason. The giant panda glared fiercely at Murong-yu, but didn't say anything. It was obviously a silent agreement. Kid, don't say that I didn't tell you. Although their strength is average, when combined, they're extremely terrifying. Don't let them discover you, or else you'd better pray that you can escape. The giant panda warned Murong-yu earnestly. Just be careful. Murong-yu looked deeply at the giant panda. Then, with a flash of his body, he disappeared from the giant panda's sight. The giant panda was shocked. Its huge body immediately spread out and covered a large area of space. However, it didn't discover Murong-yu. It was as if Murong-yu had disappeared into thin air. Kid, you're dead. You're the one who's dead. Murong-yu's voice came from not far away in front of the giant panda. As it turned out, he hadn't left. He had just turned invisible. The giant panda hadn't seen Morong Yu's heaven-defying ability before, so it didn't react for a while. You turned invisible? What a good kid. Hurry up and teach me this ability. The giant panda was excited. If it could turn invisible, it wouldn't have a problem teasing those damned bees, let alone stealing the honey. However, Morong Yu didn't respond to this idiot. Why would he teach the giant panda? This was the 9 syllables mantra. Even if he taught it to the giant panda, it wouldn't be able to learn it. Kid, you're too petty. The giant panda cried out angrily. However, Morong Yu didn't pay it any attention. He even quickened his pace. Suddenly, the space in front of Morong Yu opened up. A huge space appeared in front of him. Looking from afar, one could see bees flying around in the air, making a noisy buzzing sound. Morong Yu's pupils abruptly shrank. He finally understood why the giant panda was so afraid. As far as he could see, there were bees flying around. It was impossible to count how many there were. 1 billion? 10 billion? Or 100 billion? Apart from the huge number, these bees were all the size of water buffaloes. It was Morong Yu's first time seeing such a huge number of bees. Further away, huge beehives as big as mountains appeared in Morong Yu's line of sight. The bees were going in and out, working hard. The most terrifying thing was that most of these bees were in the Genesis realm. Was this what the giant panda meant when it said that their strength was only average? There were at least tens of thousands of beehives. There were so many beehives. How much honey was there? If this honey could really increase one's strength like the giant panda said, then the honey in these tens of thousands of beehives could definitely help him reach the insight realm, right? Kid, where are you? The giant panda hid in the tunnel, not daring to show itself. At the same time, it sent a message to Morong Yu through the communication jade slip. Whoosh! Before Morong Yu could answer, he saw a small black shadow break through the void and rush toward the beehive. Squeak, squeak! At the same time that Morong Yu noticed the black shadow, the bees also noticed it. Thus, a series of ear-piercing screams kept rising and falling in this space. Then, the Genesis realm bees rushed toward the black shadow crazily. It's a soul-fixing beast. Morong Yu's pupils shrank. This soul-fixing beast was the one that was chasing him and the giant panda. However, it actually entered here faster than Morong Yu? There were other tunnels that led here? In that case, would Mo Wu and the others also find their way here? Morong Yu suddenly felt a sense of danger. Once Mo Wu and the others came, the honey might be snatched away by them. He had to collect as much honey as possible before they arrived. As he pondered, Morong Yu's figure flashed and he flew towards the nearest honeycomb beehive. The giant panda in the passageway did not receive Morong Yu's reply, so it gradually approached them. This kid is such a bastard. He actually ate all the honey alone. The giant panda gritted its teeth and wanted to rush over, but in the end it did not dare to be so brazen. However, the temptation of the honey was too great, so it sneaked over. It looked very careful. However, because the soul-fixing beast attracted the attention of many bees. Therefore, the giant panda's speed was not slow. Whoosh! Morong Yu rushed into one of the beehives without alarming any of the bees. Honey! It was like a lake of honey, emitting a faint fragrance. Even though he had just smelled the fragrance of the honey, Morong Yu felt that his strength had increased a little. If he ate all of this honey, seeing that there were no bees around, he did not hesitate to take out the Hichu Luoshu. The Hichu Luoshu expanded with the wind and instantly expanded to the size of a lake, enveloping all the honey in the beehive. Collect! As Morong Yu shouted, the Hichu Luoshu began to collect the honey. Chapter 2069. Whoosh! Hichu Luoshu shook violently and the lake of honey was reduced by a third. At this rate, Morong Yu only needed 3 chances to collect all the honey here. However, he had only collected it once when a bee rushed in from outside. Murong Yu's divine telekinesis had already spread out in the space where the honey was. Hence, he discovered the bee immediately. Soul Anchor. Holy Soul Slash. Before the bee could react, Murong Yu's soul attack had already slashed towards it. Plop! The bee fell directly onto the beehive, dead as a doornail. Until its death, it did not understand who killed it and how it was killed. Whoosh! Whoosh! The lake-like honey was directly collected by He-Tu and Luo-Shu. Then, He-Chu Luo-Shu shrunk rapidly and turned into a ray of light that entered Murong Yu's body. Murong Yu took a step forward and disappeared from where he stood. From the beginning to the end, he'd been invisible. After leaving the beehive, Murong Yu rushed to another beehive. Just after Murong Yu left the beehive. Hey, I've finally snuck in. This time, I must take all the honey. The giant panda sneaked into the beehive and excitedly prepared to collect the honey. However, it soon saw that there was nothing in front of it. There was not even a drop of honey. This wasn't a normal situation. Furthermore, there was a dead bee nearby. Damn kid, you stole all the honey. The giant panda let out a cry of grief and indignation. However, it quickly realized what was going on. With a swoosh, it turned into a ray of light and rushed into the distance. The moment the giant panda moved, countless bees flew in from the surrounding tunnels. The reason why there weren't any bees nearby was because they were all surrounding the soul-stabilizing beast. This gave Murong Yu a great opportunity. Buzz, the sound of rushing could be heard continuously as countless bees rushed towards the giant panda. The giant panda's expression changed. It had already increased its speed to the maximum and disappeared into the beehive with a swoosh. These bees were not very powerful and their speed was far inferior to that of the giant panda. Hence, they could not catch up at all. However, if the giant panda was surrounded by them, it would have suffered a great loss last time and almost died here. Looking at the empty beehive, there was not even a drop of honey left. The bees were instantly enraged. They all thought that the giant panda had stolen it. Hence, each and every one of them went after the giant panda in a frenzy. The giant panda took the blame and was so angry that it screamed. At this moment, Murong Yu had already rushed into the second beehive. Whoosh! After entering the beehive, Murong Yu stopped his footsteps immediately. It was not that he did not want to continue, but the beehive was filled with bees. As if they were making honey or something. After watching for a while, Murong Yu realized that there was no chance for him to make a move. Once he made a move, the bees was the giant panda was. Then, they would surround and attack, hence, he quickly retreated and searched for the third beehive. Because he was gloomy, the bees did not notice him at all. Moreover, with the fixed spirit beast and the giant panda attracting the bees' attention, Murong Yu could be said to have entered a deserted area. He entered more than 10 beehives in a row. Most of the beehives had a large number of bees. However, Murong Yu still took 3 beehives. At this moment, he had opened up 3 separate spaces in the He-Chu Luo-Shu to store the honey. The reason why they were stored separately was because he realized that the honey was different. Some were more mottled, while some were more pure. Naturally, their effects would be different. 3 lakes of honey. Not to mention the whole Shenzhen, it was not even enough for Murong Yu, the big eater. Hence, he continued to linger. However, because the honey of a few beehives had been stolen, the bees were all mobilized. There were a large number of bees patrolling in each beehive. Next, Murong Yu sneaked into hundreds of beehives, but he still could not make a move. Moreover, the further he went, the stronger the bees were. At this moment, the giant panda and the fixed spirit beast had already escaped from this space and entered the tunnel. This space had already quieted down. However, the bees seemed to have sensed that there were enemies nearby, and continued to patrol with greater intensity. Murong Yu could not find a chance to make a move, which was quite depressing. However, Murong Yu was still going deeper. The deeper he went, the higher the quality of the honey. If these honey were to be graded, the honey that Morong Yu collected at the beginning was the lowest grade, which could only be considered as level 1. This honey should have reached level 9, right? Looking at the golden honey in front of him, Morong Yu's face was full of shock. Not only was the honey golden, but it was also transparent. An incomparably rich fragrance emanated from the honey, making one feel relaxed and happy. Most importantly, there was not much honey guarding this beehive. There were only a few, and those few honey were still dozing off. This was definitely the best opportunity. Morong Yu could not bear it any longer. Soul fixation. Holy soul slash. The soul attack directly exploded, instantly killing those few bee guards who were not very strong. At the same time, he had already taken out the Hichu Luoshu. The Hichu Luoshu expanded with the wind, rapidly expanding until it covered all the honey. Then, under Morong Yu's control, it began to devour the honey crazily. A few breaths of time passed, and all the honey had been collected by Morong Yu. Morong Yu did not hesitate and directly rushed into the Hichu Luoshu. Then, the Hichu Luoshu teleported and left the beehive. Just after he left, a sharp claw with a terrifying aura directly reached into the beehive from the endless void and ruthlessly struck the position where Morong Yu was originally standing. However, Morong Yu had already disappeared without a trace. The next moment, a small, black bee appeared in the beehive. When it saw the empty beehive without a drop of honey, it could not help but roar angrily. Squeak! The terrifying sound contained a terrifying sound wave attack. Wherever it passed, the void was shattered. Even the beehive where it was located trembled violently, as if it was about to shatter. Whoosh! Fortunately, the bee quickly left the place. Otherwise, this beehive would definitely be shattered. However, its angry cry caused all the bees in the space to go crazy. One by one, they rushed out, trying to find Morong Yu. Then, what about Morong Yu? Morong Yu did not leave, but entered the next beehive. The honey in this beehive was also quite high grade, and there were many bees guarding it. However, Morong Yu did not care so much. After entering this place, he immediately took out the Hichu Luoshu and began to collect the honey by force. At the same time, he also used the most violent soul attack. Soul calming, soul calming, soul calming. After a few consecutive soul calming, before the bees could react, Morong Yu had already collected all the honey in the beehive. Then, he was teleported to the next beehive. Previously, every time Morong Yu went to a beehive, although he did not do anything. Instead, he secretly left a teleportation jade slip where he was, one by one, he was teleported. Some of the beehive's honey was completely collected by him. Some of the beehives could only collect a little. This was because the bees reacted too quickly and there were too many of them. Morong Yu did not want to be surrounded by them. Therefore, he only tried his best to collect as much honey as possible. However, in the end, almost every beehive was occupied by bees, and there was no chance for him to do anything. Finally, Morong Yu decided to leave this place. Moreover, his harvest was huge, and it was enough. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. With his body concealed, Morong Yu flew toward the outside. The bees behind him chased after him. It was as if they had a special way to track down Morong Yu. Morong Yu had felt it before. Every time he appeared in a beehive, the bees outside would rush over frantically. If they could not track him, Morong Yu would not believe that they could react so quickly. Whoosh! Morong Yu had just rushed into one of the passageways when he stopped. This was because he saw a group of familiar people in front of him. It was the experts from Demon Sealing Sect, Mo Wu and the rest. After pausing for a while, Morong Yu continued to fly forward. Before Mo Wu and the rest could react, he had already flown past them. Mo Wu had actually sensed Morong Yu's fast speed. However, before he could make a move, a sea of bees rushed over like a flood. Mo Wu and the rest did not know what was going on at all, and they started fighting with these bees. Although there were many bees, Those from Demon Sealing Sect who entered here were all expert. And Mo Wu was in existence at the peak of Genesis realm. Therefore, in an instant, a large number of these bees died. However, not only did the death of the bees not make them retreat, but they also rushed forward without any regard for their lives, dauntlessly advancing wave after wave. Although Mo Wu and the rest were powerful, the bees seemed to be endless as they rushed over. In fact, the bees even chose to attack suicidally. Therefore, not long after, people from Demon Sealing Sect began to die. Even Mo Wu could not protect them. In the end, Mo Wu ordered them to retreat while fighting, and Murong Yu had already left this passageway and appeared in another one far away. At this time, he was already sitting cross-legged in the Hichu Luoshu, preparing to refine the honey. He had a feeling that with the honey in his hands, he would definitely be able to advance to Insight Realm. Chapter 2070. Plop. Murong Yu jumped straight into the lake like honey. The next moment, the hundreds of millions of pores all over his body opened up at the same time. Then, he sucked hard, and instantly, countless honey rushed into his body like a torrent. This honey was indeed different from ordinary honey. After the honey entered Murong Yu's body, it automatically melted and turned into energy that surged into Murong Yu's limbs and bones, increasing Murong Yu's strength. During this process, Murong Yu's physical body realm was increasing. However, his soul was not nourished, so it did not improve for a while. However, as long as his cultivation and physical body could be improved, it was fine. Murong Yu's strength could still skyrocket. His strength was slowly increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. He did not know how much time had passed during his cultivation. On this day, Murong Yu suddenly felt that there was no energy entering his body. Therefore, he opened his eyes to take a look, only to find that the lake of honey had been completely devoured by him. And his realm had not broken through yet. One had to know that Murong Yu did not absorb the lowest grade honey, but the relatively higher grade honey. It was about level 7 or 8. At this speed, I'm afraid I'll need more honey to break through. Murong Yu was speechless. However, he didn't hesitate to jump into another honey lake. Although honey was precious, if it was not used to increase one's strength, then it was nothing. Moreover, as long as Murong Yu became stronger, he could steal more honey. One by one, the honey lakes were continuously absorbed by Murong Yu. On this day, Murong Yu's realm finally broke through. He broke through from level 9 of the creation realm to the insight realm. His strength had increased by more than 100 times. At this moment, Murong Yu felt that he had extremely powerful strength. When he was at level 9 of the creation realm, his combat strength was only equivalent to level 3 of the creation realm. And after breaking through, his combat strength increased again, but it was still unable to reach level 4 of the creation realm. It was just that he had improved a lot on his previous foundation, becoming even more powerful. With his current battle prowess, in a situation where he did not need to use soul attacks, he could barely battle a 4th stage creation realm elite. If his physical body also broke through to the insight realm, Murong Yu's battle prowess could completely rise to the 4th level of the creation realm. The increase in strength was one aspect. After reaching the netherworld realm, Murong Yu had a strange feeling in his heart. Or rather, something had happened to his physical body. In reality, his physical body hadn't changed at all. Murong Yu thought it was just an illusion. He felt that his corporeal body had suddenly become hollow. It was empty inside, as if an incomparably huge space had appeared. His soul space and Dantian were both separate spaces. But now, he wasn't feeling these two places, but his entire body. The so-called profound insight realm, the body is like the profound insight, and one can establish a small world. A trace of understanding suddenly arose in Murong Yu's heart. Just like how those in the creation realm could create living creatures, those in the insight realm could create small worlds. What was the so-called small world? For example, the holy world, the divine world, and the celestial world, and other worlds that couldn't produce rebirth realm elites were small world. The holy world should also be established by some elite. Then, how did those in the insight realm establish a small world? Just like how those in the creation realm created things, they needed the support of their own strength. However, they all needed a medium. Other than strength, those in the creation realm needed blood essence to create things. And those in the insight realm also needed a medium to create a small world. Physical body. As long as they were in the insight realm, they had to establish a small world in their own body. Of course, after the small world was established, they could also strip it away. The stronger one was, the more small worlds they could establish. But most insight realm elites could only establish one small world in their lifetime, because having more small worlds wasn't beneficial to them. In fact, many insight realm elites didn't establish a small world in their lifetime. After all, when building a small world, it would consume a lot of their strength. And later on, they also needed to divide their attention to manage and maintain it. This kind of hollow feeling that appeared in Morong Yu's body was precisely the feeling of being able to establish a small world. As long as Morong Yu was willing, he could completely establish a small world now. However, Morong Yu forcefully suppressed his desire to establish a small world. With his current strength, he could only establish a small world at most, and whether he could strip it away from his body was still a problem. Moreover, with the strength of the insight realm, he absolutely couldn't put a planet as big as the holy world into Hichu Luoshu. Therefore, he had to give the opportunity to establish a small world to the holy world. Once he took back the holy world, then he would immediately refine it into his small world. Then, Morong Yu could take away the small world. Most importantly, once the holy world became his small world, Morong Yu could release all the people, demons and so on inside at will. Let them not need to explore reincarnation to be able to roam the endless starry sky. Continue to increase his strength. After consolidating his cultivation, Morong Yu once again raised his physical body to the first level of the insight realm. At this time, his battle prowess was still at the third level of the creation realm, but it had already reached the peak of the third level of the creation realm. He could even forcefully kill an ordinary fourth level of the creation realm powerhouse. At this time, in Hichu Luoshu, there was only the highest grade lake honey and the lowest grade honey left. The rest of the honey had already been used up by him. Moreover, at this time, those honey were already not that useful to him. Even if he absorbed all the honey in the beehive, Morong Yu would probably not be able to increase his strength by a few small realms. There was no choice, his appetite was too big. It was very difficult for ordinary things to satisfy him. Swish. His figure swayed, and Morong Yu already rushed out of Hichu Luoshu. Just as he appeared, Morong Yu's soul trembled slightly. This was not encountering danger, but encountering the reaction of a soul cultivator. He just didn't know if the other party could sense his existence? It's the fixed soul beast. Morong Yu's expression changed slightly. The fixed soul beast he sensed should be the one that chased after him previously. However, he could clearly feel that this fixed soul beast did not seem to be as powerful as before. There was only one possibility for this situation: the fixed soul beast was injured. And it was not lightly injured. In fact, the other party could not even sense Morong Yu's existence. Because Morong Yu did not notice that the other party had moved. It was very likely that the fixed soul beast was in seclusion to heal its injuries or something. If that was the case, a cold light flashed across Morong Yu's eyes. He had been chased by the fixed soul beast previously. Was it time to settle the score now? Thus, he concealed himself and slowly made his way towards the soul-fixed beast. During this process, Morong Yu appeared to be very careful. After all, he did not know if the fixed soul beast was seriously injured, or if it was just waiting for him to fall into a trap. The fixed soul beast was not very far from Morongyu, otherwise, Morongyu would not be able to sense its existence. After a while, Morongyu had already arrived near the fixed soul beast. However, Morongyu didn't see any soul-stabilizing beast. This fellow must have set up a seal nearby to prevent others from spying. Morongyu carefully approached the fixed soul beast that he sensed. Whoosh! Layers of ripples appeared in the void, and Morongyu's figure disappeared into the tunnel. Morongyu felt the scene in front of him change, and in the next moment, the fixed soul beast appeared in front of him. The seal could not stop it at all. At this moment, the fixed soul beast was lying on the ground sleeping. This must be the fixed soul beast's cultivation method. Its body was seriously injured. It must have been attacked by the swarm of bees. Even the fixed soul beast's soul was shaken. Fixed soul. Fixed soul. Holy soul slash. Holy soul slash. Without any hesitation, Morongyu directly used his most powerful soul attack. At the same time, he waved his hands repeatedly, and one seal after another shrouded the fixed soul beast. In fact, he had already taken out his weapon fragments and slashed wildly at the fixed soul beast. The fixed soul beast was indeed a powerful Genesis realm ferocious beast. As soon as Morongyu's attack appeared, it was awakened. Then, it let out a furious roar with the effect of fixed soul. Roar. Morongyu also let out an earth-shattering roar. Rip, the two roars collided, and the void was torn apart like a piece of cloth. However, it was obvious that Morongyu's roar was not as powerful as the fixed soul beast. Whoosh! Morongyu's figure flashed, and he disappeared from the spot. At this moment, his soul attack and weapon fragments had already bombarded the fixed soul beast. And because Morongyu had launched a sneak attack, the fixed soul beast only had time to let out a furious roar before its soul was hit. Although Morongyu's fixed soul did not have much effect on it, it still had some effect. Poof! The weapon fragments swept past the fixed soul beast's body, bringing out a spray of blood and half of the fixed soul beast's body. And Morongyu's holy soul slash bombarded the fixed soul beast's soul fiercely. The bombardment caused the fixed soul beast's soul to become dizzy. Morongyu took a step forward and reappeared in front of the fixed soul beast, and an extremely violent attack was launched again. Fixed soul attack. Weapon fragments. 9 syllables of truth. Almost instantly, Morongyu bombarded the fixed soul beast with all his combat power. The fixed soul beast was already severely injured. At this moment, under Morongyu's barrage of attacks, it did not even have a chance to retaliate. Finally, the fixed soul beast let out a wail, and its soul was already shattered by Morongyu. Morongyu moved like lightning, and directly sealed the fixed soul beast's soul. In the end, he grabbed the soul-fixing beast's body and disappeared from where he stood in the blink of an eye. Chapter 2071. An enormous amount of memories rushed into Morongyu's memories like a torrent. These memories were the memories of the second soul-fixed beast. It was obvious that this soul-bound beast had lived much longer than the first soul-bound beast. Therefore, its memories were dozens of times more than the first soul-bound beast. However, after removing some useless memories, there were not many memories left. Morongyu valued the soul-fixed ability the most. Comparing the two, his soul-fixed ability had improved by leaps and bounds. There was another aspect that made Morongyu vigilant. The rest of the soul-fixed beasts had been mobilized. They had even entered the real cave residence of the celestial being. At this time, they were probably traversing through a maze? Comparing the memories of this soul-fixed beast, Morongyu found gloomily that although this soul-fixed beast was much stronger than the first one, it was still at the bottom of the soul-fixed beast family. In other words, if Morongyu encountered another soul-fixed beast, then those soul-fixed beasts would be much stronger than this one. Morongyu did not care so much. He had already offended it. If the soul-fixed beasts dared to cause trouble, then they would all be killed. If they could not be killed, Morong Yu could only escape. With Morong Yu's current strength, he was afraid that escape was the only way. Devour the soul. Killing the second soul-fixed beast, besides the reason of revenge. Morong Yu also wanted to get its memories and devour its soul. The soul-fixed beast's consciousness had been wiped out by Morong Yu. Therefore, no accidents happened in the process. Morong Yu easily devoured all of its soul. However, although this soul-fixed beast was strong, it could not help Morong Yu's soul breakthrough. Although he could not break through the realm, his soul was stronger than before. Whether it was soul-fixed or soul attack, they could not be mentioned in the same breath. A day later, Morong Yu walked out of Hichu Luoshu and walked towards the outside of the passage. Although there was a lot of honey at the end of the tunnel. However, the honey was definitely heavily guarded. Even if Morong Yu managed to sneak in, he probably wouldn't be able to get any benefit. It would be better to search for the treasures left behind by the Heaven Tier elite. Brat, hand over your honey. Morong Yu hadn't walked very far when a figure jumped out from the side and fiercely said, "Let's go." "Unlucky cat, you're not dead yet?" Morong Yu shouted without even looking at the other party. "I'll kill you." The guy who jumped out was the extremely narcissistic panda. Hearing Morong Yu's words and thinking about the scene of it being beaten by the bees, it suddenly became furious. With a loud roar, he pounced towards Morong Yu. Morong Yu faintly smiled as he took a step forward. In the next moment, his figure disappeared from where he stood. No matter how hard the giant panda searched, it couldn't find any trace of him. In the end, the giant panda gave up. Even if it was stronger than Morong Yu's invisibility ability was too abnormal. It couldn't do anything about it. Whoosh! A black shadow tore through the void and charged towards the giant panda at an extremely fast speed. The giant panda stretched out its claws and caught the black shadow. It realized that it was a space treasure. Therefore, it used its divine consciousness to explore it. Honey. It was about the size of a pool of honey. The giant panda was suddenly overjoyed. It opened its mouth and swallowed the honey. Then, it didn't care about anything else and sat down cross-legged to cultivate. Morong Yu revealed himself and looked at the giant panda with a speechless expression. This guy was really at ease. He actually started to cultivate here. However, the giant panda was still his friend. Therefore, he stood guard around it. After 2 hours, the giant panda slowly opened its eyes. "Haha, this handsome cat is really handsome. My strength has increased a little. Yes, I can do whatever I want here." Morong Yu looked at the giant panda with a dark expression. The giant panda's strength had increased a lot, but it didn't seem to have reached the point where it could do whatever it wanted here. Compared to Mo Wu and the others who were at the peak of the Genesis realm, it was still far behind. However, this guy had always been narcissistic, so Morong Yu couldn't be bothered with it. "Kid, let's go. I'll bring you to the real cave. Don't worry, I won't get lost this time." Seeing Morong Yu's suspicious expression, the giant panda patted its chest and said. Morong Yu was still a little skeptical. However, he could only choose to believe this guy now. Otherwise, what other choice did he have? The giant panda didn't seem to be wrong. It brought Morong Yu around the maze. If they encountered other beasts or people like Mo Wu, it would bring Morong Yu away. After walking in the maze for a full month, they finally walked out. The front suddenly opened up. It was like a paradise on earth. Green mountains and clear waters, small bridges and flowing water. Hundreds of flowers bloomed, hundreds of birds sang. What a beautiful scene. Ha ha, I'm finally here again. The giant panda laughed loudly. It took a step forward and rushed forward. However, before it could finish being happy with a plop, it was as if it had been slapped down from the sky by a large hand. It was slapped directly into the depths of the ground. Ha ha, Morong Yu couldn't help but laugh loudly. The scenery in front of them was beautiful. Although the heaven and earth origin energy here was extremely dense, It was obvious that there was an inexplicable force enveloping the entire space. Previously, Morong Yu wasn't sure what this force was for. However, it was extremely clear now. It suppressed flying. In other words, flying was prohibited here. The giant panda was so pleased with itself that it was directly slapped deep into the ground by that force. Pay! 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 The giant panda ate a mouthful of mud. After it got up from the ground, it kept spitting saliva. However, it didn't stop. Instead, it quickly rushed in the direction it came from. There must be something good in front that attracted this fellow. Morong Yu's heart skipped a beat. He immediately chased after it. Although his body was special, he couldn't fly in this space. The giant panda's strength was much higher than Morong Yu's. Hence, its speed was also very fast. It shook off Morong Yu in an instant. When Morong Yu turned around a mountain, he saw the giant panda again. At this moment, the giant panda was looking ahead. Its saliva was all over the ground. Morong Yu followed the giant panda's gaze and looked over. There was nothing special in front. There was only a long green bamboo. Only this bamboo looked like a crane in a flock of chickens. However, although this bamboo was green, there was nothing special about it. Although giant pandas like to eat bamboo, it shouldn't be to this extent, right? Could it be that this planet didn't have bamboo? Morong Yu was puzzled. He slowly walked up. Brat, stop right there! The giant panda suddenly shouted. Morong Yu was shocked. Just as he was about to kick the giant panda, a figure appeared out of thin air. This gave Morong Yu and the giant panda a fright. Who is it? The giant panda roared. It swung its paw at the person who appeared out of thin air. Who dares to sneak an attack on this beauty? Watch out for my axe. A delicate voice was heard. Then, a giant axe fell from the sky and slashed at the giant panda. Morong Yu's face darkened. When he heard this voice, he didn't need to look to know that the little loli had appeared. One claimed to be the most handsome cat in the world. The other claimed to be the most beautiful woman in the world. Who knew what would happen when these two super narcissistic people were together? Boom! In the blink of an eye, the two of them had already exchanged a blow, and then the two of them were both sent flying. Their strength was actually on par. Damn it! How dare you sneak an attack on this handsome cat? Do you want to die? The giant panda was furious. It was about to rush up. On the other hand, the little loli was also furious. Giant panda, how dare you attack this beauty? Do you believe that I won't kill you? Look at you. You're a beauty? In this handsome cat's eyes, you're really ugly. You're a good match for that brat. The giant panda said with disdain. I got hit. Morong Yu's face was full of smiles. He couldn't be bothered with these two fellows. He walked to the side alone to observe the bamboo that stood out from the crowd. You shameless panda. You're considered ugly among the pandas. How dare you boast that you're a handsome cat? You're blinding me. You're the one who's blinding me. These two fellows didn't attack. They were actually having a war of words. At this moment, Morong Yu's face was full of surprise. Although this bamboo looked ordinary, Morong Yu realized that this bamboo could directly devour the chaotic energy. Although it looked green, it was filled with pure primal chaos energy. Moreover, the chaotic energy was extremely powerful. Morong Yu reckoned that even if he managed to refine the bamboo, his strength would still increase by a little. One could only imagine how much power this bamboo contained. This is the chaotic primordial bamboo. It has a great effect on the unlucky cat. It should be able to increase its aptitude and talent. The little loli's voice was heard. That's right. After the little loli's voice, it was the giant panda's saliva. Morong Yu turned his head, only to be blinded by what he saw. The two narcissists who were originally at loggerheads and fighting had their arms around each other's shoulders. It was as if they were old friends. They were very intimate and familiar. Birds of a feather flocked together. Morong Yu looked up at the sky. He was speechless. He didn't know what to say. If that's the case, why don't you eat it quickly? The giant panda quickly shook its head. The chaotic primordial bamboo hasn't fully matured. It's too wasteful to eat it now. You're really not eating it? Someone's coming. I'm afraid it won't be your turn by then. Murong-yu chuckled and pointed not far behind. At this moment, a group of people was quickly walking over. Chapter 2072. The giant panda's heart tightened. Although it was said that only the giant pandas ate bamboo, not only could the primal chaos bamboo be eaten, but it could also be used to refine tools. The origin tools refined from it would all be of the highest quality. Thus, those who came would definitely try to snatch the primal chaos bamboo after discovering it, unless they didn't recognize the primal chaos bamboo. However, among so many people, someone would definitely recognize the primal chaos bamboo. Poor cat, don't worry, I'll protect you. The little loli patted the giant panda's head. At the same time, she waved her hand and tossed something out. It was a ring-shaped origin tool. It was unknown what it was used for. The ring expanded with the wind, instantly expanding to a radius of about 10 miles. Then, this enlarged ring enveloped Murong-yu's group, as well as the primal chaos bamboo. Layers of ripples appeared in the void. Waves of power were continuously emitted from the ring, directly forming a power shield around the area, protecting Murong-yu and the others. The little loli clapped her hands. All right, those people won't be a threat to us anymore. However, the giant panda's heart didn't relax. After all, it didn't know whether the ring the little loli took out had any use or not. Among those people outside, there was no lack of Genesis tier elites. In fact, there was even one who had reached the peak of the Genesis tier. The people who came were the Stellar Luna sect and the sect leaders of the Stellar Luna sect, both of whom were at the peak of the Genesis tier. Very quickly, the people of the Stellar Luna sect arrived outside the ring. They were blocked by the ring and couldn't advance any further. The people of the Stellar Luna sect all looked at Murong-yu and the others. The little loli's act of revealing her intentions was too obvious. Wasn't this telling the people of the Stellar Luna sect that they had treasures here? At the start, even the sect leader of the Stellar Luna sect didn't discover what good things were inside the power shield, until a disciple of the Stellar Luna sect told him. Sect leader, that bamboo should be the primal chaos bamboo. If it's used to refine tools, it should be able to refine a heaven-tier origin tool, a disciple of the Stellar Luna sect said to the sect leader in surprise after recognizing the primal chaos bamboo. The eyes of the Stellar Luna sect's sect leader flickered. This was good stuff. If he had a celestial tier origin tool that he had refined himself, his strength would definitely skyrocket. Even if he was still no match for a celestial tier elite, it would definitely not be easy for a celestial tier elite to kill him. It would be much easier for him to defeat Mo Wu and the others. Kill. Although the Star Luna sect was one of the top 10 forces in the Devil Sealing Galaxy, it had never been a good thing. Just as the sect leader of the Star Luna sect was deep in thought, a disciple of the Star Luna sect had already made his move. Boom! The punch landed heavily on the energy emitted by the ring. The huge force collided with the power of the ring, creating a layer of ripples. But that was it. Soon, the ripples dissipated. However, the ring remained unmoved. Seeing this, the giant panda's anxious heart relaxed. However, Murong-yu's heart skipped a beat. The strength of this Stellar Luna sect's disciple wasn't that great. Among the Stellar Luna sect's disciples, there were many who were stronger than him. Moreover, Xingyu, who was at the peak of the Genesis tier, hadn't made his move yet. If Xingyu or all of them attacked at the same time, how long could this ring last? And the chaotic primordial bamboo didn't look like it could mature in a short time. The situation was critical. Boom. 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 The Stellar Luna sect's disciples weren't good people. They didn't care about their status as a large sect. After the first disciple's attack failed, more disciples made their move. One after another, powerful forces bombarded the protective shield crazily. The shield trembled violently. Although the shield still showed no signs of breaking, Morong-yu realized that the ring's energy was being depleted faster. If this continued, it wouldn't be able to last for too long. The little Loli's face darkened, and she looked very unhappy. Damn it, there's not enough energy. Giant Panda, I might not be able to protect you anymore. The giant panda looked at the Star Luna sect's disciples outside, then at the chaotic primordial bamboo. He looked hesitant. Even if the chaotic primordial bamboo hadn't fully matured, if it was snatched away, it might as well eat it. Although the effects wouldn't be good after it matured, it was better than nothing, right? Seeing that the ring couldn't hold on any longer, the giant panda finally decided to make its move. However, just as its claws reached out to grab the primal chaos primordial bamboo, its claws were grabbed by a large hand. Kid, are you trying to snatch my chaotic primordial bamboo? The giant panda glared at Morong-yu with a murderous look. If Morong-yu really wanted to snatch the chaotic primordial bamboo, even if they were friends, they would fall out with him. Morong-yu rolled his eyes. To be honest, the chaotic primordial bamboo wasn't attractive to him at all. He just suddenly thought of a way. Wasn't the chaotic primordial bamboo not fully matured yet? Then he would think of a way to accelerate its ripening. You can accelerate the ripening of the chaotic primordial bamboo? The giant panda looked at Morong-yu suspiciously. It didn't believe that Morong-yu had the ability. That was the chaotic primordial bamboo. Only the little Loli looked at Morong-yu with a strange light in her eyes. The chaotic primordial bamboo grew by absorbing the power of chaos, while Morong-yu had the chaotic celestial body. If there was anyone who could accelerate the ripening of the chaotic primordial bamboo, that person would definitely be Morong-yu. If I say I can, would you believe me? Morong-yu laughed. Looking at Morong-yu's confident smile, the giant panda was a little hesitant. Although it still didn't believe it, it had to give it a try. If Morong-yu couldn't accelerate the ripening of the chaotic primordial bamboo, it wouldn't be too late for it to eat it. Morong-yu smiled faintly and walked to the front of the chaotic primordial bamboo. Accelerating the ripening of the chaotic primordial bamboo was actually an idea that flashed through his mind. He wasn't sure whether it would work or not. Sect Master, they want to take the chaotic primordial bamboo. Seeing that Morong-yu's hands were slowly reaching for the chaotic primordial bamboo, everyone from Star Luna sect tensed up. A cold light flashed across Xing-yu's eyes. He would never allow Morong-yu to snatch the chaotic primordial bamboo away. Therefore, he attacked. He threw out a punch directly. Boom! After a deafening sound, the energy shield formed by the ring shook violently. In fact, Morong-yu even heard a creaking sound coming from the energy shield. However, the energy shield didn't shake at all. Xing-yu frowned slightly and threw another punch. The energy shield still didn't shake. However, Morong-yu clearly saw that the energy of the energy shield was greatly depleted. If this continued, the energy shield wouldn't be able to last for a day. In other words, Morong-yu only had half a day at most. If he couldn't accelerate the ripening of the chaotic primordial bamboo after half a day, he would take the chaotic primordial bamboo and escape. At this moment, his hands were already on the chaotic primordial bamboo. With a thought, an enormous amount of chaotic energy rolled out from his hands like raging waves and surged into the chaotic primordial bamboo. Whoosh! After receiving Morong-yu's enormous and pure chaotic energy, the chaotic primordial bamboo, which was originally calm, started to shake violently and thousands of branches started to dance in the air. Morong-yu even saw the chaotic primordial bamboo growing taller slowly. It worked. Seeing this, the giant panda couldn't help but exclaim, "Big Baddie, my energy shield can only last for half a day at most." Little Loli's anxious voice rang in Morong-yu's mind. "Half a day is enough," Morong-yu replied. Initially, the chaotic primordial bamboo only had 7 sections. However, in such a short time, it had already grown by half a section, although Murong Yu didn't understand the chaotic primordial bamboo. He knew that 9 was the limit between heaven and earth. A 9-section chaotic primordial bamboo should be its mature state. Right at this moment, a miserable shriek suddenly rang out from the Star Luna sect disciples who were attacking the energy barrier outside. The Stellar Luna sect, Murong Yu, and the others were all shocked and turned to look. They saw a Stellar Luna sect disciple lying on the ground lifelessly. Soul-stabilizing beast. Murong Yu's heart sank. Originally, he was focused on the chaotic primordial bamboo and didn't pay attention to the outside world. Now that he looked, he immediately sensed the presence of the soul-stabilizing beast. And there was more than one. When it rains, it pours. The Stellar Luna sect disciples were hard to deal with, and now there was the soul-stabilizing beast. Fortunately, the soul-stabilizing beast didn't seem to be on good terms with the Stellar Luna sect disciples and started to attack directly. Kill them! The Stellar Luna sect disciples seemed to know of the soul-stabilizing beast's existence, and someone shouted immediately. Instantly, an incomparably violent power poured out, covering a large area and attacking indiscriminately. Murong Yu and the other two heaved a sigh of relief. Due to the soul-stabilizing beast, the Stellar Luna sect temporarily stopped attacking the energy shield. It's best if they all perish together. The giant panda laughed coldly. Unlucky cat, you're so evil. Little Loli looked at the giant panda with disdain. Don't tell me you don't think so. The giant panda looked at little Loli with disdain. Unlucky cat knows me well. Little Loli patted the giant panda's shoulder and laughed evilly. Murong Yu's face darkened. This pair of birds of a feather made him speechless. However, he couldn't be bothered with these two idiots. Under his hard work, the 8th segment of the chaotic primordial bamboo had completely grown. At this moment, he was working hard towards the 9th segment. However, when the chaotic primordial bamboo reached the 9th segment, the amount of chaotic energy required became extremely large. The tree of life in Murong Yu's dantian trembled slightly. The millions of roots that had taken root in the endless primal chaos danced wildly as they absorbed the boundless primal chaos energy. In the end, they transformed the energy into pure primal chaos energy and poured into Murong Yu's body. With the support of the Tree of Life, the chaotic primordial bamboo also grew rapidly. Chapter 2073. At this rate of growth, it wouldn't take long for the 9th segment of the primal chaos bamboo to fully mature. But right now, Murong Yu and the others were both happy and worried. They were happy because the primal chaos bamboo was growing well. They were worried because other than the Star Luna sect and the soul-stabilizing beast, the people from the Demon Sealing sect had also arrived. As these people continued to appear, one could imagine that the top 10 forces and other forces would also appear one after another. If these people joined forces to attack, the little Loli's ring wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Now, they could only do their best and leave the rest to fate. If they really couldn't, they could only take the primal chaos bamboo and escape. Otherwise, with their strength, they wouldn't be a match for Mo Wu and the others at all. However, fortunately, the soul-stabilizing beast treated all the cultivators as Murong Yu's accomplices and attacked indiscriminately. However, these soul-stabilizing beasts wouldn't be able to hold on for long under the attacks of Star Luna and Mo Wu, who were at the peak of the creation realm. As expected, Star Luna and Mo Wu joined forces and attacked aggressively. Those soul-stabilizing beasts couldn't hold on and were quickly beaten back. Now, Murong Yu was facing two of the top 10 forces, the Star Luna sect and the Demon Sealing sect. Not only did these two sects have many powerhouses, but they also had peak creation realm existences. Unless a heaven realm powerhouse appeared now, no one would be able to withstand their combined attack. Big bad guy, tragedy is about to happen. Let's take the primal chaos bamboo quickly and escape. Facing Mo Wu and Star Luna, even the battle-hungry little Loli was so scared that she wanted to escape. The giant panda also nodded repeatedly. This level of powerhouse wasn't something it could fight against. Okay. Murong Yu immediately agreed. This wasn't his character. The little Loli thought that Murong Yu wouldn't agree. With her understanding of Murong Yu wouldn't make such a choice unless it was the last moment. However, the little Loli reacted very quickly. She saw that Star Luna and Mo Wu were already preparing to attack outside the energy barrier. The ring was unable to withstand the attacks of these two super powerhouses. It was shattered in an instant. It was no wonder Murong Yu had agreed so readily. With a thought, Murong Yu summoned the Hichu Luoshu and was about to take the little Loli and the giant panda into it. At the same time, he grabbed the primal chaos primal bamboo with both hands and was about to uproot it. 1. At this moment, before Murong Yu could do anything, a layer of ripples suddenly appeared in the void where they were. At the same time, a terrifying pressure rolled over from afar like a torrent. Plop, plop, plop outside the ring, other than Mo Wu, Xing Yu, and Xing Yu. The rest of the Demon Sealing Sect and Stellar Luna Sect's disciples immediately knelt down, some even prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling. Even Mo Wu and Xing Yu paled. They turned to look behind them in shock and anger. A frightening pressure descended on Murong Yu's body, causing his soul to tremble violently. What a terrifying pressure! This should be the existence of the celestial realm, right? Murong Yu was shocked. However, he circulated his strength to the limit and resisted the impact of the pressure with all his might. Pressure, other than being a physical attack, was more of an attack on one's mind. The stronger the mental strength, the weaker the effect of the pressure. For example, Murong Yu's mental strength and willpower were extremely strong. Because of this, he was able to withstand this pressure. However, it was only temporary. Plop. However, although Murong Yu could resist the pressure temporarily, the giant panda did not have as strong a mental strength and willpower as he did. He was immediately forced to kneel down. Only the little Loli stood where she was as if nothing had happened. A faint fluorescent light was emitted from her body, enveloping her entire body. It should be the fluorescent light that blocked the pressure. Therefore, she acted as if nothing had happened. Whoosh! After suppressing most of the people on the ground, a figure appeared out of thin air above Murong Yu and the others. It was a young man who looked to be about 28 or 29 years old with an evil smile on his face. A celestial realm expert. Murong Yu could clearly see that the power radiating from this person was more than 100 times stronger than Mo Wu and Xing Yu. In other words, 100 Xing Yu and Mo Wu together might not be a match for this young man. Then, this young man was a celestial realm expert. There were only 10 celestial realm experts in the Milky Way star zone. Then, this person was one of the 10? The young man with the evil smile glanced at Mo Wu and Xing Yu. At that time, his face was indifferent and there was no change. However, when his gaze stopped on Murong Yu and the little Loli, his expression changed. Murong Yu was only a level 1 Insight Realm cultivator. There was a gap of 2 realms between them. How could he resist his pressure? Although it was very difficult for him to resist, as long as he continued to release a bit more pressure, he could suppress Murong Yu. However, Murong Yu's performance still made him look at him in a new light. This was really magical. Murong Yu only made the young man feel a little surprised. It was not to the extent that his expression changed. What made his expression change was the little Loli. He could clearly feel that when his aura reached the little Loli's side, it was diverted to the other side by the faint fluorescent light. It did not affect the little Loli at all. She was at least a level 2 celestial realm existence. Otherwise, even a level 1 celestial realm expert would not be able to resist his pressure with just the power of light. However, there were only a few level 1 celestial realm experts in the Milky Way star zone. How could there be a level 2 celestial realm expert? In other words, this woman should be from another star zone. Moreover, her background was quite strong. I wonder if the expert behind her is in this secret realm? This thought suddenly flashed through the young man's mind. His bewildered eyes kept sweeping past the little lowly. Haha, I'm Skeleton. I'm just passing by. I'm sorry to disturb Mississippi. The young man suddenly laughed and landed on the ground. Then, he bowed to the little lowly. Murong-yu was almost scared to the point of peeing. This guy was Skeleton? Skeleton was not one of the top 10 celestial realm experts in the Milky Way star zone. Then, if this person did not come from another star zone, then he must be the leader of the Skeleton Bandits. In other words, the Milky Way auction house lost the previous battle. The celestial realm inheritance was snatched by the Skeleton Bandit, and the leader of the Skeleton Bandits took this opportunity to break through and become the 11th celestial realm expert in the Milky Way star zone. Murong-yu and the Skeleton Bandits had a huge grudge. Once this skeleton found out, would he reward him with a slap? And with Murong-yu's current strength, he would definitely not be able to withstand a slap from the skeleton. The little lowly only looked at the skeleton indifferently and did not speak. She had a very arrogant look. The skeleton did not say anything and only laughed dryly. He had just broken through to the celestial realm and his cultivation had not even stabilized. Moreover, he did not have any celestial realm foundation. It was because of this that he came to this secret realm and wanted to swallow all the treasures of the celestial realm expert. Therefore, he definitely did not dare to fight against the expert behind the little lowly. Therefore, he bowed and was about to leave. I see that Miss seems to be in trouble. Do you mind if I help you? Before leaving, the skeleton said and then looked at Mo, Xingyu, and the rest with murderous eyes. Mo, Xingyu, and the rest were instantly enveloped by a terrifying aura of death. Boom! Boom! Without any hesitation, they detonated their strongest origin tool and temporarily cancelled out the skeleton's pressure. In the next moment, they turned into a stream of light and tore through the void, flying into the distance. However, as they were leaving, they stared at Murong-yu with resentment. This made Murong-yu speechless. He did not do anything, so what did it have to do with him? Boom! At the same time when Mo and Xingyu moved, the skeleton also attacked. With a slap, it slapped down. After an earth-shattering explosion, Xingyu sect, demon sealing sect, and the few soul-stabilizing beasts were already shattered into dust before they could even react. Other than Mo and Xingyu, the people from the two forces were all dead. This skeleton was truly vicious and merciless. The people from Demon Sealing Sect and Star Luna Sect did not have any grudges with him. However, in order to please the little lowly, he killed them directly. If Mo and Xingyu did not escape quickly, the two of them would have died without a doubt. You guys ran fast. The skeleton sneered in disdain. If he chased after them, he might be able to kill the two of them. However, he felt that there was no need for that. Those two people have been injured by me, so they shouldn't be a threat to you for a while. I'll take my leave first. The skeleton bowed to the little lowly, then took a step and disappeared. It's over. Mo and Xingyu must hate me to death. Murong-yu mumbled gloomily. He couldn't understand why Mo and Xingyu would hate him. Was it because the skeleton was too powerful, the little lowly's background was too scary, and the giant panda was not a cultivator? There's a heaven realm cultivator here. You scared me to death. After a long time, the little lowly seemed to have returned to her senses. She wiped away a drop of cold sweat on her forehead and said with lingering fear, "You're afraid of a heaven realm cultivator?" Murong-yu glared at the little lowly, then turned around to continue ripening the chaotic primordial bamboo. Otherwise, if Mo and Xingyu came back without a good person, like the skeleton to help them, they would definitely be in trouble. Kid, hurry up and ripen the chaotic primordial bamboo. Damn it, it's too dangerous here. I don't want to stay here any longer. The giant panda came back to his senses and cursed. Chapter 2074. Without the disturbance of Mo Wu, Xing Yu, and the soul-anchoring beast, Murong Yu focused on ripening the chaotic primordial bamboo. Thus, the chaotic primordial bamboo grew at a rapid pace. Perhaps Mo Wu and Xing Yu escaped due to their heavy injuries, or perhaps Skeleton's celestial realm power was still lingering. In the following period, no one or beast approached. 2 hours after Skeleton and the others left, the 9th segment of the chaotic primordial bamboo was finally fully grown. At this time, the mature chaotic primordial bamboo turned from its original green appearance to a patch of black. It was completely black, and even the bamboo leaves were black. However, this black color was not like charcoal, but was filled with traces of light. Even if a mortal saw it, they would feel that this bamboo was extraordinary. Haha! It's finally ripened. Kid, thank you. After Murong Yu let go of the chaotic primordial bamboo, the giant panda laughed and rushed forward. In the blink of an eye, the chaotic primordial bamboo was uprooted by the giant panda. Then, the giant panda opened its big mouth and bit down with a caw-caw sound. Although the chaotic primordial bamboo was extraordinary, it was just like ordinary bamboo and was easily eaten clean by the giant panda. There's nothing special about the chaotic primordial bamboo. It doesn't even have the fragrance of ordinary bamboo. The giant panda patted its big belly and said irritatingly, "Is that so?" Little Lolita's eyes flashed with a dangerous aura as she stared at the giant panda. Perhaps it was because the giant panda recalled the scene of Skeleton and little Lolita, it could not help but shudder and quickly said, "It's just a joke, just a joke. After eating the chaotic primordial bamboo, it will gradually change my physique." It seemed that the chaotic primordial bamboo worked slowly and did not have an immediate effect. Therefore, Murong Yu wanted to continue forward. However, the giant panda pulled him back. "Kid, you still want to go deeper?" The giant panda shuddered. Now that it had obtained the chaotic primordial bamboo that it had always wanted, it really did not want to go deeper when it thought of Skeleton's horror. "Coward!" Little Lolita looked at the giant panda with disdain, and then walked away. Murong Yu did not say anything. He just broke free from the giant panda and continued forward. He had been knitting all his life. If he stopped just because there was a heaven-tier elite in front of him, it would not be his character at all. Most of the time, being strong did not necessarily mean that one could obtain treasures. Although Murong Yu did not think that he was that virtuous person, he believed in his luck. "You two bastards, this handsome cat will be killed by you sooner or later. Forget it, forget it. I'll sacrifice my life to accompany the ugly." The giant panda looked up at the sky and let out 3 long sighs. Then, it spread out and followed behind Murong Yu and the other man. Boom, boom, boom. Not long after, a series of loud noises came from the front. Waves of aura surged from the front like stormy waves. From afar, an incomparably huge palace appeared in front of them. The loud noise came from that hall. Eh? They can actually enter that hall? The giant panda seemed to be very familiar with this place, and his face was full of confusion. "Unlucky cat, can't we enter that hall in the past?" The little loli could not help but ask. "Of course not. That hall is covered by layers of formations and restrictions. Not to mention entering, we can't even get close to it." The giant panda blurted out. At this time, it did not hide anything. Therefore, it told him everything it knew about the palace. This hall was the real cave abode of the heaven-tier elite. However, because it had never entered, the giant panda had no idea what was going on inside. After all, the other party is only at the heaven tier, and Skeleton is also at the heaven tier. Therefore, the formations and restrictions left behind by that person are unable to stop Skeleton at all. But, who is Skeleton fighting with inside? Could it be that a second heaven tier elite has appeared? Murong Yu frowned slightly and muttered to himself in his heart. Murong Yu was able to easily identify the skeleton's aura amidst the shock waves of energy that resembled stormy waves. At this time, Skeleton's aura was much stronger than before. Skeleton was fighting, which meant that his opponent was at least at the heaven tier. The other cultivators have also come over. The little lowly looked around and found that many people were like them, hiding in the distance of the palace. Under the vibration of the aura of the two skeletons, all of them trembled, and no one dared to approach the hall. Even Qianyao, a peak creation realm elite, did not dare to approach. After all, there was a huge gap between the peak creation realm and the heaven tier. Just like Mo Wu and Xingyu, they could only run. Bang! All of a sudden, a black shadow flew out from the entrance of the hall. After this black shadow flew out, its figure flipped in the void, and then turned into a stream of light that shot into the distance, instantly disappearing from everyone's sight. It's Skeleton. What's in the hall? Murong Yu's face revealed a shocked expression. Obviously, Skeleton was beaten out by someone. Moreover, Skeleton ran away almost without hesitation. At the same time, his face revealed a look of fear. What kind of existence could make Skeleton feel fear? After the skeletons fled, the entire area became quiet. Silence reigned. Although the door of the hall was not closed, no one dared to use their divine sense to investigate. Even Skeleton had run away. How could they dare to enter the hall? However, this was clearly the real cave abode of that heaven tier elite. There might be the inheritance and various treasures of that heaven tier elite. If they were asked to leave just like that, they would be somewhat unwilling. After half a day, finally, a cultivator could not help but extend his divine sense. Just as his divine sense spread into the main hall, he let out a roar. Then, his figure smashed through the void and charged straight into the palace. Before the others could react, his figure had already disappeared from the hall. Bang! 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 After the three loud noises, the hall fell into silence again. And that cultivator never came out again. Obviously, that person had been killed. Everyone became more and more frightened. But no one left. The weirder the hall was, the greater the harvest. Of course, the premise was that you could gain something. F***ck. Luckily, we couldn't enter the hall before, or this handsome cat would be in trouble. The giant panda patted his chest and said with lingering fear. This fellow had snuck in here more than once, but he had never been able to enter the hall. Otherwise, it would be a problem whether or not he still existed. Kid, let's go. Instead of wasting our time here, we might as well go get some honey. The giant panda laughed sinisterly and was about to pull Murong Yu away. Step back a little, I want to go in and take a look. Murong Yu, who had been looking at the hall silently, suddenly said. Are you crazy? The little lowly and the giant panda immediately exclaimed. Don't worry, I won't risk my life. As he spoke, a power clone appeared in front of the giant panda and the little lowly. Murong Yu's original body took a step forward and rushed straight into the Hichu Luoshu. Are you two going to enter my treasure space or stay here? Let's enter the treasure space. The giant panda blurted out without hesitation. This place was full of danger, so it was safer to enter the treasure space. The little lowly naturally knew the uses of the Hichu Luoshu, so she also entered the treasure space. Whoosh! After they entered the Hitu and Luoshu, Murong Yu's strength incarnation turned into a ray of light. It tore through the void and charged straight into the main hall. You're courting death. Seeing Murong Yu rush over, the surrounding people looked at him with disdain and sneered. As soon as Murong Yu's power clone rushed into the hall, he saw a middle-aged man standing not far in front of him. I am Taoing, defeat me and you will receive my inheritance. Otherwise, die. A thunderous voice exploded from the middle-aged man's mouth, causing Murong Yu's power clone to sway slightly. At the same time, the middle-aged man had already made his move. He took a step forward and rushed to Murong Yu's side. With a thought, Murong Yu was about to take a step forward and break away from the other party's attack. But something happened that shocked him. His physical body only swayed, and as if he had been nailed to the ground, he did not move at all. It was not a seal, nor was it confinement, and it was even more so not time freezing. There were no traces of these at all. However, fortunately, Murong Yu's hands and power could still be used, so he exploded with a strong power and clashed with the middle-aged man. Boom! 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 The middle-aged man's strength was not strong. He was only at the 4th level of the Genesis tier, which was a minor level higher than Murong Yu's battle prowess. The other party should have suppressed his strength. Otherwise, with his battle prowess, how could he defeat the skeleton? It was as if his feet had been nailed to the ground, and he could not move at all. Thus, Murong Yu became a target. No matter how strong he was no match for the middle-aged man in a situation where he could not move. After a few dozen moves, Murong Yu's power clone directly exploded. The great hall fell silent again. "Big Baddie, how is it? What's the situation inside?" Little Loli immediately asked with concern. "There seems to be only one person inside." Murong Yu told them everything he had seen. "So strange?" Little Loli and the giant panda frowned, and Murong Yu was also puzzled. He still did not know how his power clone had been fixed. Strictly speaking, it was not fixed, but as if the feet had taken root, firmly nailed to the ground. However, Murong Yu did not discover anything special with a single thought. A second energy clone was formed once again. Chapter 2075. With a sway of his body, Murong Yu's energy clone charged into the main hall once again. "What's going on?" Seeing Murong Yu enter again, the surrounding crowd immediately went into an uproar. But very quickly they came to their senses. If Murong Yu could think of using his energy clone to enter, why couldn't they? They could do it too. After coming to their senses, each of their figures shook and transformed into an energy clone that charged into the main hall. In an instant, countless figures rushed into the main hall. Could there really be some treasure inside? In Hichu Luoshu, the giant panda jumped up and looked eager to try. However, the little Loli was unusually quiet and did not have the intention to enter the main hall to investigate. "Big scoundrel, how's your doppelganger?" The little Loli ignored the restless giant panda and looked at Murong Yu. Murong Yu shook his head. This time was exactly the same as the first time. He lasted a little longer than the first time and still did not gain anything. He did not even notice how the person called Shadow Step stopped him. "I suggest that you all go in and take a look," Murong Yu said. Anyway, even if his energy clone was killed, he would only lose some energy. It was not a big deal, and if more people went in, they might gain something. The giant panda was already restless. Hearing this, it immediately transformed into an energy clone and rushed out of Hichu Luoshu into the main hall. The little Loli hesitated for a moment, then transformed into an energy clone. However, the three of them were very careful. Previously, a cultivator was pulled into the main hall. Although there was no owner of the energy clone in the main hall now, there was nothing wrong with being careful. Whoosh! Murong Yu's third energy clone entered the main hall. The main hall was exactly the same as the previous 2 times he entered. The things inside did not change. Of course, he did not see any energy clones of other cultivators. So many energy clones had entered the main hall. It was impossible that all of them were killed. Therefore, Murong Yu guessed that the main hall was another space. Everyone who entered the main hall was separated into different spaces. "Damn, you even dared to destroy this handsome cat's energy clone. See if I don't destroy you." At this moment, the giant panda flew into a rage and cursed in Hichu Luoshu. After a while, the little Loli shook her head. Her energy clone had also been destroyed. "What's going on?" Murong Yu asked. From the giant panda and the little Loli's answers, Morong Yu realized that they had encountered the same thing as him. However, they did not gain anything. The ability of Shadow Step's ability was too strange. If that person obtained it, that person's strength would definitely increase by several times. Even Morong Yu's heart was moved. Moreover, the loss of his energy clones. Therefore, Morong's energy clones continuously. Aside from Morong Yu, everyone else was the same. So that's how it is. Morong Yu's energy clone looked at the shadow step in front of him in shock. In reality, Morong Yu was not looking at the shadow step, but at the foot of the shadow step. At this moment, the shadow step's feet were firmly stepping on Morong Yu's shadow. Shadow step, so this was shadow step. There was nothing special about stepping on a shadow. The key was that Morong Yu realized that when his shadow was stepped on, his body could not move. A shadow was ultimately a shadow, and not something substantial. No matter how you attacked the shadow, it would not affect the main body. Moreover, as long as the main body was there, no matter what kind of attack the shadow received, it would not change. Unless the place where the shadow was projected changed. However, the essence of the shadow was still the same. Only with the main body would there be a shadow. If you wanted the shadow to change, you would have to hurt the main body. This was irreversible. This was the innate understanding of mortals and cultivators in the endless starry sky. However, the scene that Morong Yu witnessed today had toppled his understanding of the world. The shadow and the main body were reversed. Since the other party could step on the shadow and control the main body, then, could the other party attack the shadow and then hurt the main body? This thought appeared in Morong Yu's mind, and the shadow step quickly gave him an answer. The shadow step glanced at Morong Yu, and then chopped at the arm of Morong Yu's shadow. With a pu, the arm of Morong Yu's shadow was directly chopped off. At the same time, the arm of his energy clone was also chopped off. It was actually possible. Morong Yu was indescribably shocked and wanted to break free. However, Morong Yu's shadow step continued to attack, causing Morong Yu's shadow to explode. Naturally, Morong Yu's energy clone also fell. What kind of technique is this? It's actually so heaven-defying. In some ways, it's even more heaven-defying than the chaotic celestial record. It's even more heaven-defying than the primal chaos celestial body. Morong Yu was still in shock. After a long time, Morong Yu came back to his senses. Although this divine shadow technique was heaven-defying, it was not at the same level as the chaotic celestial records and chaotic celestial records. Just like Morong Yu, as long as he didn't die prematurely, he could become the master of chaos. Once he became the master of chaos, he could control the entire chaos. So what if the divine shadow technique was heaven-defying? It couldn't do anything to the master of chaos. Moreover, the weakness of the divine shadow technique was quite obvious. When facing an expert, so what if you stepped on his shadow? Even if the opponent stood still and let you attack, you might not be able to kill him. Moreover, Morong Yu didn't believe that the divine shadow technique could stop an expert who was several realms stronger than the user. Most importantly, the divine shadow technique only targeted shadows, but what if the opponent didn't have a shadow? Then wouldn't this technique be completely useless? Of course, it was impossible for a person to not have a shadow. But in the darkness, wouldn't there be no shadow? Of course, as the attacker, it was very easy for them to create light, and thus create shadows. However, the opponent could also extinguish these lights. These were the weaknesses of the divine shadow technique. Of course, the divine shadow technique was still heaven-defying. If Morong Yu cultivated this technique, he was confident that he could even kill an expert at the peak of the Genesis tier. Thus, he was determined to obtain this divine shadow technique. Didn't they say that if he defeated the Step of Shadows, he would be able to obtain his inheritance? Then I'll defeat him. Morong Yu's eyes flashed, and thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind. The Step of Shadows should also be a power clone, and in the large hall, it would always be a minor realm higher than the intruder. If he only relied on his power clone, Morong-Yu wouldn't be able to defeat the Step of Shadows. Then, if he wanted to defeat the Step of Shadows, he would have to use his true body. When Morong-Yu told the little lowly and the giant panda about his discovery, the two of them were immediately stunned. Especially the little lowly. The more terrifying one's background was, the more they knew. When they learned about the divine shadow technique, they were even more shocked. However, when they learned that Morong-Yu wanted to use his true body to defeat the Step of Shadows, they immediately stopped Morong-Yu. "You can choose to remain in my treasure, or you can choose to leave." After Morong-Yu made a decision, he couldn't be swayed. Not to mention the little lowly, even Zhao Jiqing and the others couldn't be swayed. Moreover, Morong-Yu's main spirit would always be in the Hichu Luoshu, so he wouldn't be so stupid as to throw his life away. "Since that's the case, then I'll also go in with you," the little lowly said through gritted teeth, as if she had made a decision. F***ck, the two of you will kill this handsome cat sooner or later. Once this handsome cat dies, how many female pandas will be heartbroken? The giant panda looked at Morong-Yu with grief and indignation, as if it was about to die. "Don't worry, as long as you don't leave my treasure space, you won't die," Morong-Yu said to the little lowly. Without Morong-Yu's permission, the giant panda couldn't leave Hichu Luoshu. However, the little lowly could. Thus, he said this mainly to the little lowly. "Brat, you can't die. If you die, we can only stay in your treasure space for the rest of our lives, and we won't be able to leave that damned hall," the giant panda said with grief and indignation. Morong-Yu sent the giant panda flying with a kick. In Hichu Luoshu, even if the giant panda was stronger than him, he could still beat it up if he wanted to. Because he was the ruler here. After everything was prepared, Morong-Yu's main body left Hichu Luoshu and appeared at the entrance of the hall. After taking a deep breath, Morong-Yu stepped out and charged into the hall. Shwa. The scene in the hall was exactly the same. No, it was a bit different. In the past, when his clone entered here, Taing would say the exact same thing, "I am Taing. If you defeat me, you can obtain my inheritance. Otherwise, you will die." But now Taing didn't say this. He only looked at Morong-Yu indifferently. After a while, he slowly said, "Brat, you finally have the courage to enter with your main body? Those who enter with their clones are all cowards. They won't be able to defeat me. And you are the first one to have the courage to enter with your main body after knowing the situation here. I admire your foolish actions, but there is only one outcome for you, and that is death. Unless you can defeat me. But let me tell you, that is impossible." Morong-Yu's face darkened. When did this guy become so talkative? Once he started talking, he wouldn't stop. Moreover, he was mocking and ridiculing him. It really made him speechless. Moreover, was this guy really dead or was he still alive? "I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Not only will I not die, but I will also defeat you and obtain your inheritance." Morong-Yu laughed coldly. He took a step forward and took the initiative to throw a punch. His clone had been in here for so long and had always been on the passive side. Moreover, he kept getting killed, so he had a stomach full of anger. Chapter 2076. Step Shadow's figure flashed, and it dodged Morong-Yu's attack. It took a step forward, and was about to step on Morong-Yu's shadow. Once Morong-Yu's shadow was stepped on, he would be immobilized, and he would be powerless to reverse the situation. After being killed by Step Shadow so many times before, how could Morong-Yu not learn to be smart? At the same time that Step Shadow's figure flashed, his figure also rapidly retreated backward. During this process, vicious beasts of various shapes and sizes continuously appeared around Morong-Yu. Following this, these vicious beasts bared their fangs and brandished their claws, releasing a terrifying pressure as they charged towards Step Shadow. In the blink of an eye, the entire large hall was filled with tens of thousands of vicious beasts. These were the creatures that Morong-Yu had created. All of them had the strength of the second level of the Genesis realm. They were only one level weaker than Morong-Yu's original body. Step Shadow's strength was only at the fourth level of the Genesis realm, and there was a difference of 2 levels between it and the creatures that Morong-Yu had created. Their strength was like a natural chasm. However, although the creatures that Morong-Yu had created weren't very strong, they had the advantage of numbers. The densely packed creatures filled the entire large hall. The shadows of the creatures covered the entire floor. It was impossible to tell if the shadow belonged to Morong-Yu or another creature. "You think that I can't do anything to you just because of this?" Step Shadow's power exploded, and all the creatures that charged towards him were all sent flying. As he spoke, Step Shadow took a heavy step forward, and stepped on the overlapping shadows in front of him. 1. At this moment, Morong-Yu felt that all the creatures that he had created had been immobilized. Even him. Morong-Yu was indescribably shocked. "As long as it's a shadow, it won't be able to escape from my attack." Step Shadow smiled proudly. Morong-Yu's heart sank. That's right. Even if the shadows drowned each other's shadows, and it was impossible to tell who was whose shadow. However, these black shadows were still shadows. Countless shadows combined to form a large shadow. As long as it was a shadow, it would be affected by Step Shadow's shadow godly technique. "Break for me." Step Shadow quickly pounced over as it used Step Shadow. Morong-Yu felt a deep sense of danger. Thus, he let out a loud roar. At the same time, all the creatures that he had created and his original body began to struggle fiercely. Boom! A huge muffled explosion sounded out, and the shadow on the ground shook violently, causing the Step Shadow on the ground to stagger. However, the bodies of Morong-Yu and the other creatures only swayed slightly. They were unable to take even half a step forward. He was still frozen and unable to move. However, Morong-Yu's face revealed a smile. Because he saw hope. "Break for me." At Step Shadow's attacks attack. Step Shadow's attack to attack Step's attack attacks S's attack Step Shadow's attacks attack. Step S to attack HH. Step Shadow was about to punch Morong-Yu to death. At this moment, the weapon shard, which carried a terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth, tore through the air and ruthlessly chopped towards Step Shadow's head. Ta-Ing sneered and punched the shard of the weapon. Dang! After an ear-piercing sound of metal colliding, the weapon shard was directly sent flying. Step Shadow's fist was also shattered, and his body became sluggish. At the same time, after a huge pring sound, Morong-Yu's body had already retreated backwards. The other creatures roared crazily and charged towards Step Shadow, wanting to kill him. "You actually broke free from my stomp?" Step Shadow's eyes flashed with admiration. Even Skeleton, a Heaven Realm expert, was almost killed by him, and Morong-Yu was only at the profound underworld realm. He couldn't help but admire him. HH, the weapon shard continuously tore through the air and wildly chopped over. As for those creatures, their shadows were once again stepped on by Step Shadow, making them unable to move. In the end, they were easily killed by Step Shadow. However, a large number of creatures were still being created. However, Morong-Yu retreated far away. In fact, his shadow was far away from those creatures' shadows. Otherwise, once those creatures' shadows were stepped on, even he would be frozen. No matter how big a shadow is, it's still a shadow, but what if there's no shadow? Morong-Yu's heart moved, and Hichu Luoshu had already been summoned. After Hichu Luoshu appeared, it grew with the wind and quickly covered the entire hall. However, what made Morong-Yu depressed was that Step Shadow's body exploded with a dazzling light. Where there was light, there would definitely be shadows. Unless Step Shadow was killed, the shadows would be everywhere. The weapon shard froze in the air, unable to move at all. Its shadow was also stepped on by Step Shadow. This made Morong-Yu even more depressed. Under these circumstances, only a soul attack would be effective. However, Step Shadow was clearly just a clone of energy, and did not have a soul. Thus, Morong-Yu's soul attack was useless. Is it really impossible to kill Step Shadow? Is he really an invincible existence? Morong-Yu felt a deep sense of helplessness. Step Shadow was only strong because of the Shadow Godly technique. If there were no shadows, his Shadow Godly technique would be completely ineffective. However, how could there be no shadows? Invisibility. Morong-Yu's mind suddenly flashed. Following which, his body flashed and disappeared from the spot. Invisibility, hiding one's body in the void. Even the original body could not be seen, so how could there be a shadow? Without a shadow, how could Step Shadow attack him? Morong-Yu was speechless. He had actually forgotten the best way to counterattack Step Shadow. Bang! 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 The creatures created by Morong-Yu were quickly killed by Step Shadow. In the end, only Step Shadow was left in the hall. As for Morong-Yu, he had already hidden himself, and no one knew where he was. Invisibility. Step Shadow's eyes flashed, and a look of astonishment appeared on his face. Invisibility was indeed the biggest nemesis of his Shadow Godly technique. Because there was no shadow. However, Step Shadow was not anxious or worried. As long as Morong-Yu attacked, a shadow would appear. As long as there was a shadow, it would not be able to escape from his Step Shadow. However, would a shadow really only appear when he attacked? Space storm, time freeze. Morong-Yu unleashed his most violent attacks. He directly attacked using the laws. These attacks were soundless and caught Step Shadow off guard. He was instantly injured. Although his injuries were not serious, he was still injured. Moreover, the most important thing was that this attack was effective. It was fine as long as it was effective. Following which, Morong-Yu simply entered a berserk state. The laws of time, the laws of space, and any attacks that did not have a shadow were all unleashed by him. So what if Step Shadow's realm was higher than Morong-Yu's by a small realm? His most powerful, Shadow Godly technique did not have the power of bravery. What awaited him was Morong-Yu's death. Although the process was relatively slow, Step Shadow would die without a doubt. Alright kid, stop attacking. You have already passed my test. Step Shadow was battered and exhausted from the attacks. Suddenly, he stood still and said loudly, "Shwa! Shwa!" Morong-Yu did not have any intention of stopping. 2 attacks of time and space directly shattered Step Shadow's energy clone. Little bastard, this is revenge. Step Shadow's furious voice came from afar. Following which, Morong-Yu seemed to have entered a teleportation array. After a moment of dizziness, he appeared in a space that was exactly the same as the hall he was in before. However, the space here was many times larger, and the main hall had a bit more vitality. This should be the inside of the real palace. Morong-Yu could clearly see balls of light floating in the hall. Inside the balls of light were the Step Shadow and the clones that had barged into the hall. Those should be the independent spaces where Morong-Yu had fought with the Step Shadow clones. There was no one in the hall. There was only a skeleton sitting cross-legged at the back of the hall. Junior Morong-Yu greets Senior. Sorry for the disturbance. Morong-Yu bowed to the skeleton. Morong-Yu did this out of his own free will, and it was not an act. Not to mention whether he could obtain this master's inheritance, the skeleton was still a heaven-tier powerhouse. Just this point alone was enough for Morong-Yu to bow. Kid, you are not bad. I have decided to take you as my disciple. The skeleton's voice suddenly sounded. Morong-Yu stood where he was, looking at the skeleton calmly. He was not excited because the skeleton wanted to take him as a disciple. After a long while, the skeleton spoke again. However, his tone was filled with confusion and helplessness. Kid, why don't you look excited? Senior, I don't understand. Why do you want to take me as your disciple? Logically speaking, I haven't defeated you yet. Because you know how to turn invisible. Invisibility is the greatest nemesis of the step shadow. If the step shadow and invisibility are combined on one person, the effect will be unexpectedly good. I am looking forward to seeing the effects of the step shadow after you cultivate it. The skeleton, which was also the step shadow, said excitedly. It was as if it was not the skeleton that wanted to pass the cultivation technique to Morongyu. Instead, it was Morongyu who wanted to pass the cultivation technique to him. Invisibility, step shadow. The combination of the two techniques was probably much stronger than the step shadow alone. Morongyu was also looking forward to it. He could not wait to cultivate the step shadow. However, should he become a disciple? What kind of person was the step shadow? Morongyu hesitated. Until now, there were only two people that he had truly become a disciple of: the sectless sect master and elder Duan Hun. Kid, don't hesitate. I don't have much time left, the skeleton suddenly said impatiently. At the same time, the skeleton raised one of its white skeletal hands and grabbed towards Morongyu. Senior, you don't have to be so impatient, right? Let me think about it. Before Morongyu could finish his words, an incomparably large amount of information crazily surged into his mind like a stormy sea. Chapter 2077. Rumble information surged into Morongyu's memories like a tidal wave. Even though his soul had already reached the peak of the manifestation realm, it was still about to explode from the crazy influx of memories. Apart from the inheritance of the Step of Shadows, there should also be the memories of the Step of Shadows. Although there were many memories that Morongyu did not need, the memories related to the inheritance of the Step of Shadows and his cultivation were incomparably precious. Furthermore, Morongyu did not know which memories were more precious and could be accepted. However, they were completely useless. In reality, Morongyu did not have a choice. All of this information was forcefully sent into his mind. With the strength of the Step of Shadows realm, Morongyu could only accept it passively. Thus, Morongyu could only grit his teeth and endure. If his soul could not take it and exploded, then it would be a tragedy for him. Thus, his main soul had already jumped out of the Hichu Luoshu and accepted the speed of the Step of Shadows with all his might. Half a day later, the memories of the Step of Shadows that surged into Morongyu's mind slowly dissipated. Disciple, you must not let the inheritance of your master's life's work be lost. You must bring it to greater heights. At the same time, you must remember to take revenge for me. Otherwise, I will become your inner demon and coil around your soul. The voice of the Step of Shadows rang out in Morongyu's mind. Following which, a vast wave of soul power quickly surged into Morongyu's soul space. This was the soul power of the Step of Shadows. Morongyu's expression changed slightly. The strength of the Step of Shadows' soul power exceeded his expectations. Furthermore, he could not understand why the Step of Shadows would do this. However, the Step of Shadows did not give Morongyu any time to think. The incomparably large soul power had already surged into Morongyu's soul space. Morongyu could only accept it passively. Otherwise, it would be too wasteful. Morongyu's soul sphere had already swelled to the size of an ordinary star. After the Step of Shadows' enormous soul power was swallowed by him, it could no longer be swallowed by the soul sphere. If he couldn't continue devouring soul energy, then how could he raise his realm and strength? Morongyu furrowed his brows as he pondered. Bang! At this moment, Morongyu was shocked to see that his soul sphere had suddenly exploded into two soul spheres. What was going on? Morongyu didn't have time to be surprised. He saw two soul spheres of almost the same size gently spinning around each other at the same time. With every rotation, a portion of the soul power that filled his soul space was devoured. After the original soul sphere split, it formed two planets of the same size. At this moment, after devouring Ta Ying's soul power, the two soul spheres rapidly grew. However, the amount of soul energy that the two soul spheres devoured was different. 90% of the soul power was devoured by one of the soul spheres. Therefore, this soul orb grew faster. 1. When this planet grew to the size of the primordial star, Murong Yu felt that his soul, which had been stuck at the creation realm, had been instantly upgraded. Insight stage. Finally, his soul broke through to the insight stage. His soul, cultivation, and physical body all reached the first stage of the insight stage, and it was balanced again. The moment his soul broke through, Murong Yu clearly felt that his battle prowess had a terrifying increase again. At least 100 times difference. 100 times, which was a difference of one small realm. In other words, Murong Yu's original battle prowess had only reached the peak of the third stage of the creation realm. But now, his battle prowess had already broken through to the fourth stage of the creation realm. His strength was terrifying. At this moment, in Murong Yu's soul space, two soul spheres, one big and one small, were spinning slowly. What was different from before was that the soul sphere that was the size of the primordial star was only spinning slowly on the spot, while the soul sphere that was only the size of a normal planet was spinning slowly on its own, and it was also spinning around the big soul sphere. At the same time as the two soul spheres were spinning, Murong Yu clearly saw streams of soul power continuously surging into his soul space from outside his body, and finally being devoured by the two soul spheres. With every minute that passed, the two soul orbs grew a little bigger, and Murong Yu's soul naturally became a little stronger, although he couldn't feel the increase at all. But under the accumulation of time, the increase was quite terrifying. Moreover, the most important thing was that this wasn't Murong Yu taking the initiative to cultivate. Under the situation where he didn't take the initiative to cultivate, the two soul spheres were still cultivating automatically. With a thought, Murong Yu took the initiative to cultivate. Instantly, the two soul spheres sped up their rotation. Naturally, every moment, the amount of soul power that was wandering between heaven and earth that was devoured by them also increased. Murong Yu was overjoyed. This kind of cultivation speed was more than 100 times faster than before? Even if there was no soul power to devour in the future, Murong Yu's soul wouldn't improve too slowly. At least it wouldn't be ridiculously slow. Every time he broke through a small realm, Murong Yu's battle prowess would increase by leaps and bounds, and it was very terrifying. This made Murong Yu look forward to it. What if his strength broke through to the heaven realm? Not to mention the heaven realm, even if he advanced to the creation realm, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the Milky Way star field. After stabilizing his current cultivation, Murong Yu began to read and remove the memories of Stepping Shadow. Divine Shadow Technique was actually Stepping Shadow. Stepping Shadow was the name of this technique, and also the name of Stepping Shadow. And Stepping Shadow was a powerful existence at the first level of the heaven realm. This technique wasn't actually created by Stepping Shadow himself. Instead, he had obtained it by accident, and later on, he had brought it to greater height. With the strength of the first level of the heaven realm, coupled with the heaven-defying Stepping Shadow technique, Stepping Shadow should be able to do whatever he wanted in the Milky Way star field. How did he fall? After all, the strongest in the Milky Way star field was only at the first level of the heaven realm. After reading the memories of Stepping Shadow, Murong Yu came to a realization. It turned out that Stepping Shadow wasn't a powerhouse from the Milky Way star field, but from another star field. However, the star field he was originally from was much more powerful than the Milky Way star field. Heaven realm powerhouses weren't as common as dogs, but they were still quite common. They were equivalent to the creation realm cultivators of the Milky Way star field. Because Stepping Shadow had cultivated a heaven-defying technique, and because he was young and impetuous, he was naturally too proud of himself. In the end, He was ambushed by others, and was ultimately defeated and forced to flee the Milky Way star field. If he had been defeated or even killed by others, Stepping Shadow wouldn't have been so resentful. He definitely wouldn't have wanted Murong-Yu to take revenge for him. At that time, the people who had plotted against him were his best brother and the woman he loved the most. Originally, Stepping Shadow had wanted to personally take revenge. However, his injuries were too severe to heal. Thus he placed a curse on Murong-Yu. Murong-Yu finally understood why Stepping Shadow was so kind as to give all of his spiritual strength to Murong-Yu. It turned out that this guy didn't have good intentions. His spiritual strength carried a trace of the power of a curse, resentment. At this moment, it had already fused with Murong-Yu's soul. As long as Murong-Yu didn't take revenge and kill his enemies, this resentment would always exist. Fortunately, Stepping Shadow only wanted Murong-Yu to take revenge. After Murong-Yu took revenge for him, that trace of resentment would dissipate. Seeing that you not only raised the level of my spiritual strength, but also gave me the Stepping Shadow technique and inheritance, I won't bicker with you. In the future, when my strength reaches a certain level, I'll definitely help you get rid of that adulterous couple. Murong-Yu thought to himself. Just as he finished speaking, he felt his soul loosen up. Stepping Shadow's trace of resentment had most likely rested. Although it still existed, it had already gone into hiding and wouldn't have any effect on Murong-Yu anymore. This palace is actually a peak-level Heaven Realm defensive origin tool. Moreover, as long as I inject energy, it can explode with a Heaven Realm defense. Murong-Yu observed the palace, and then with a thought, Shwa. The clones of the cultivators who were originally in the palace suddenly saw themselves being pushed out by a wave of energy. As for their original bodies outside the palace, they saw that the originally majestic palace had already disappeared without a trace. Let's go. Murong-Yu shrank the palace and put it away, then entered Hichu Luoshu. Then, he too and the Book of the Luo teleported him away. From start to finish, no one realized that Murong-Yu had taken the palace. They only thought that the palace flew away by itself. Big bad guy, how was it? Did you get the inheritance? Seeing Murong-Yu walk over with a face full of joy, the little loli immediately approached and asked, "What kind of intergalactic joke is this?" The giant panda looked at Murong-Yu with disdain. It definitely wouldn't believe that Murong-Yu could defeat the clones of Stepping Shadow. Murong-Yu only glanced at the giant panda indifferently, then nodded to the little loli. "Really?" The little loli directly jumped up with a face full of joy. "Can I cultivate it?" "Of course you can." Murong-Yu smiled. Then, with a tap of his finger, he imprinted the entirety of the shadow stepping technique into the little loli's memories without reservation. It really is the stepping shadow technique. Haha, this beauty is going to be unparalleled in the world. The little loli arrogantly laughed. In the end, her body flashed and disappeared from the spot. She should be cultivating. "Handsome, you really got that awesome technique?" The giant panda was first stunned, then had a face full of regret. In the end, it walked over licking its face. Murong-Yu smiled at the giant panda and nodded. "Then, can I cultivate it too? At most, I'll admit that you're more handsome than me." The giant panda licked its face and said, "Scram." Murong-Yu sent the giant panda flying with a kick. This guy couldn't forget his narcissism even when he was begging for help. The giant panda rolled over and then looked at Murong-Yu with resentment, like a resentful wife. Murong-Yu couldn't help but shudder and quickly said, "Don't look at me like that, I'll give you the technique." In reality, Murong-Yu hadn't cultivated this technique yet. However, he had already passed it to his clone in the solar system. And his clone had already passed it to Zhao Jiqing, Yu Menqing, Mu Liue, Kurlan, Situ Xian, and the others. Chapter 2078. Didn't Shadow Step ask Murong-Yu to carry forward this technique? Therefore, after Murong-Yu obtained this technique, He had already passed it on before he could cultivate it. Of course, those who could cultivate this technique were his own people. Murong Yu had absolute trust in those people. Without Murong Yu's permission, those people wouldn't leak the cultivation technique to anyone else. As for the giant panda? Although he didn't spend much time with it, and this fellow was not only narcissistic but also despicable. But Murong Yu trusted this fellow. However, Murong Yu was still careful and only gave part of the technique to the giant panda. If he knew the giant panda better in the future, perhaps he would give the complete technique to the giant panda. Of course, the prerequisite was that this fellow could cultivate it. Although Murong Yu had not cultivated it, he had already taken a few glances at it. He realized that it was not so easy to cultivate Shadow Step. He had a feeling that although he had given Shadow Step to many people, there were not many who could cultivate Shadow Step. However, there were definitely not many people who could successfully cultivate it. In fact, there might not even be one. Haha, kid, you are indeed the most handsome human cultivator in the world. After receiving the technique, the giant panda laughed heartily and did not forget to flatter Murong Yu before he left. Murong Yu rolled his eyes, too lazy to bother with this narcissist. With a wave of his hand, an independent space had already formed. Sitting down cross-legged, Murong Yu began to cultivate Shadow Step. This technique was quite mysterious. After cultivating it, it did not help one's cultivation level. Even if one succeeded in cultivating it, it would only increase Murong Yu's battle strength, not his cultivation level. Because of the cultivation memories of Shadow Step, Murong Yu easily grasped the key point. The shadow and the main body were actually one entity. It was just that the shadow was formless. Because they were one entity, even if one attacked the shadow, one could also hurt the main body. However, how did Shadow Step manage to injure the shadow? As he cultivated, Murong Yu realized that after cultivating Shadow Step, a special power would appear in his body. In fact, power was also an intangible existence. Since both sides were formless existences, they could naturally attack or injure each other. Furthermore, the power cultivated from Shadow Step was even more ethereal than the power of primal chaos. It was as if this power did not exist at all. Even Murong Yu, the person involved, could not feel the existence of that power. If it were anyone else, it would be even more impossible for them to sense the existence of the power. The reason why Shadow Step was called Shadow Step was because of this power. This kind of power burst out from under his feet and directly suppressed the shadow. Of course, as long as one had this kind of power, then regardless of whether it was the feet, the hands, or the body, one could suppress the physical body. However, the power of Shadow Step was extremely difficult to cultivate. After cultivating for half a day, Murong Yu was finally able to cultivate a trace of this power. According to Ta Ying's memories, Murong Yu's speed was considered fast. Back then, because the aptitude of the Shadow Step was ordinary, it took him a full 10 years to cultivate the first trace of the Shadow Step power. After that, he used an even longer time to cultivate the Shadow Step power to a level where he could fight. The Shadow Step power was like the power of faith, but it was much more bizarre. It could greatly increase Murong Yu's battle strength. Because of that, Murong Yu didn't do anything but practice the Shadow Step. Time acceleration. Only an instant had passed in the outside world, but tens of thousands of years had passed in Hichu Luoshu. It might even be 100 million years. Time acceleration was definitely a bizarre cultivation method. After 100 million years, Murong Yu stopped the time acceleration. Shadow Step power. Murong Yu closed his eyes and roared in his heart. Rumble within his body, within his meridians, a formless power suddenly began to surge like a torrent. It was like a raging wave that flowed through Murong Yu's meridians. Murong Yu slowly opened his eyes, and a slight smile appeared on his face. After 100 million years of cultivation, 1/3 of the Shadow Step power in his body already existed. If only the power stored in Morong Yu's body was counted, it would definitely be much more than a 4th or even 5th level creation realm cultivator. Then, 1/3 of the Shadow Step power was already quite terrifying. The Shadow Step power could not be directly converted from the power of chaos. If he wanted to continue increasing it, then he had to cultivate the Shadow Step. However, Morong Yu had already stopped cultivating. Morong Yu felt that 1/3 of the Shadow Step power was enough. If the Shadow Step power increased, then it would affect the power of chaos in his body. After all, the power of chaos was the main power, and Morong Yu's battle strength was still the power of chaos. And the Shadow Step was only an auxiliary technique. However, this 1/3 of the Shadow Step power did not mean that there would always be this much. It would be continuously depleted as Morong Yu used it. However, with Hichu Luoshu around, he only needed to accelerate time, and it would not take long for him to recover the Shadow Step power that was depleted. Brat, is the technique you gave this handsome cat fake? Why haven't I cultivated a single strand of hair after 100 million years? The moment Morong Yu appeared in the isolated space where the giant panda was cultivating, the giant panda could not help but start cursing. Morong Yu's face darkened and he stepped out, directly stepping on the giant panda's shadow. The giant panda was shocked, and with a thought, he wanted to retreat. However, he was shocked to find that his body had been fixed in place, and he could not move at all. It was the same as when he was frozen by the Shadow Step. Bang! Before the giant panda could react, Morong Yu had already punched his panda eye. The giant panda let out a scream, and his entire body fell to the ground from the huge force. However, his feet were still nailed to the ground and he could not move. Bang! 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 Morong Yu raised his fist and punched the giant panda. Originally, the giant panda was no match for Morong Yu in Hichu Luoshu. Now that his shadow was being stepped on, it was a tragedy. After a long time, Morong Yu stopped attacking and let go of the giant panda's shadow. At this time, the giant panda was beaten black and blue. Poor cat, do you think the technique I gave you is real? Morong Yu looked at the giant panda with a smile. However, his smile made the giant panda's hair stand on end. Haha, of course it's real. I can't cultivate it, and it might be because of my aptitude. The giant panda laughed dryly. But didn't I eat the chaotic primordial bamboo? Theoretically, my aptitude should have improved a lot. How could I not succeed in cultivating it? The giant panda muttered. In the end, he was still doubting the authenticity of the technique Morong Yu gave him. Good things are all trampled on by pigs. Poor cat, you've wasted the chaotic primordial bamboo. Morong Yu did not speak. The one who spoke was the little loli who appeared out of thin air. The giant panda immediately glared at the little loli. However, its face turned green in the next moment. Why was that? That was because it realized that the little loli had stepped on its shadow. It didn't know if it was intentional or not. In order to prevent the little loli from cultivating Shadow Step, she would beat it up like Morong Yu. Therefore, the giant panda quietly tried to distance itself from the little loli. However, what made it feel sad was that it was once again immobilized. Poor cat, take this beautiful girl's punch. The little loli shouted, and her fist landed directly on the giant panda's other eye, causing it to cry out in pain. The tragic giant panda was trampled on by the little loli for a long time before it left in anger. It decided that it must succeed in cultivating Shadow Step, and then take revenge on Morong Yu and the little loli. After the giant panda left, the little loli looked at Morong Yu. Then, she took a step forward and stepped on Morong Yu's shadow. Morong Yu laughed, little loli, don't waste your energy. You can't step on my shadow. The little loli only revealed a charming smile at Morong Yu, and her fist was already flying towards Morong Yu's eyes. Shwa! Her fist was about to leave a panda eye on Morong Yu's face. At this moment, Morong Yu's figure suddenly disappeared. He disappeared without a trace, and even his shadow could not be seen. "I've already stepped on your shadow, how can you break free?" the little loli exclaimed. "Without a shadow, how can you step on it?" Murong Yu's voice sounded in the little loli's ears. It turned out that he had already become invisible the moment the little loli's fist arrived. Since he was invisible, how could there be a shadow? The little loli was a little discouraged. "So, shadow step isn't invincible, there's actually such a huge flaw. However, not everyone can become invisible, right?" As she spoke, the little loli was incomparably proud of herself. Murong Yu's face darkened and his figure flashed, and he had already left Hichu Luoshu. Other than him and the little loli, no one else had been able to successfully cultivate the shadow step technique. After all, Zhao Jiqing and the rest didn't have any treasures that could accelerate time. Murong Yu wondered if he should make a trip back to the solar system and help Zhao Jiqing and the rest to successfully cultivate this technique. As for investigating the Devil Crow, Xing Yu, and the rest, he could temporarily put it aside. After all, Murong Yu's current strength was still quite far away from theirs. However, before returning to the solar system, he still had to make a trip to a place. "Go steal honey? I like it." The giant panda and the little loli jumped out of Hichu Luoshu, and their faces were filled with excitement. Especially the giant panda, its saliva had already flowed all over the ground. Honey was a good thing, and after his strength had increased greatly, Murong Yu planned to get more honey to increase the strength of Zhao Jiqing and the rest. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense for Glory Sect to only have him as the only one who could barely make a move. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.